Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Jocelyn, if you could talk into your mic too.
Hello, welcome.
All right. We are here live doing a public webinar tonight. Jocelyn and I have some cool things that we want to share with everybody. But we want to remind everybody that there is a chat box. Whoop. And there goes my audio. There is a public chat box that you can chat with us and talk to us. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. We have the link to the actual webinar page inside of that description box. So all you got to do is click there and you can come over and join us in the chat. I do have the YouTube page open, but I am not going to be checking it for questions during the webinar. So may be able to go back and answer some of the questions there afterwards, but you need to go ahead and click that link if you want to talk to us and join us over here. All right. The big thing that we need to know right now is, can you hear us? Jocelyn, if you could drop something in the chat box to see if anyone is paying attention to their chat and everyone is talking there. See if they can hear us. As soon as we get some confirmation from one or two people, yes, I can hear you. And yes, I can see your screen. You should see a picture of me and Jocelyn in front of a computer sitting on the beach. So, Jocelyn, is anybody verifying the sound check?
Svetlana says she can hear us.
Awesome. So we are live in Richmond, Virginia. Paul's got us too. If we can get about two more people to go with us, we will
Kat
go.
can hear us in Australia.
If we're being heard in Australia, we're good. There was someone from Canada was here too. Let's just get all the countries.
Right.
Aloha,
Hi,
Gina.
Gina.
Hey, Gina. She's in Hawaii because she said aloha. We know Gina. All right. And see the video. Paul said that. Okay. Let me, I'm going to do a real quick click over to our camera. Let me switch over here. I'm going to stop screen sharing for just a second. All right. What do you see now, Jocelyn? It looks like everybody, we got the camera on. We're going to turn the camera on later for the Q&A, but we're going to keep it on the screen first. So just let us know if you can see us on the camera as soon as we get somebody to let us know that they can see us on the mic. We're proving we're live. Can they see us?
Yep.
All right.
Looks like people can see us.
We're good. All right. So I'm going back to the PowerPoint presentation now. Nothing fancy here tonight. Let me switch over here.
For some reason, I have to keep coughing, so sorry.
Are you coughing? Allergies
yeah, like
are full bloom here in Kentucky. Full bloom, okay? All right, guys, the chat is 100% live, the chat box there. So if you want to talk to us, if you've got questions during the presentation, it's really good to go ahead and drop those questions in as we go along. So because there is a slight audio delay, what you're seeing in the screen and what you're hearing is probably a little tiny bit off from the chat. All right. So make sure if you've got questions as we go along, if you got any questions for us, just drop them in the chat box. Jocelyn is manning the chat box and she will get those from you. Hi, Cindy. How you doing? Cindy just walked in. Gina, Teresa, gang's all here. All right. All right. If you want to share this with some of your friends, maybe you got some other people that are interested in what we do. Jocelyn and I have a podcast called The Flip Lifestyle. We talk a lot about online business, internet marketing. And if you know anybody that might be interested in that, go ahead, just grab the link in your URL bar right now and go share that on Facebook, on Twitter, anywhere you can go. Gina says she can't get enough of The Flip Lifestyle, baby. Aloha. That's what I'm talking about. All right, we got to go see. I mean, we have to go see we have a lot of people in Hawaii, a lot of fans in Hawaii. So we've got to go to Hawaii and have some kind of meetup or something. We can go to Hawaii on the way to Australia when we go see Kat. All right. So make sure you share this. Let people know what you're doing tonight. It's Thursday night. Everybody's wasting time watching TV. Tell them, stop wasting time. Get over here and talk to Shane and Jocelyn. And normally when we get into the presentation, these are a little bit different than our live Q&As. If you've ever been to one of our live Q&As where we answer questions, usually that's kind of really freestyle. Jocelyn and I are both talking a lot. When we do a PowerPoint presentation or some kind of presentation in a webinar, usually Jocelyn is in the chat room the whole time. That way she can talk to people as they come in. She can see what you guys need, answer your questions, get you links to anything you might need links to. And I will be handling most of the talking. Jocelyn will jump in during certain stories and things like that. But mostly she will be in the chat and I will be on the mic. The reason for that is it's really hard to do both. It's almost impossible to do both of them at the same time. So let's make sure that if you have a question, you can get that to Jocelyn at any time. And I will just be rolling through. I will not be watching the chat room until question and answer sessions. Okay.
And if you're just joining us, welcome. It is officially 9 p.m. So we want to say hello to everyone who's just joining us. We do have a chat box there. If you want to ask a question or say anything during the presentation, just go ahead and pop it right there in the chat, and I will be there to hang out with you.
Yeah, we've been doing some public Q&As lately. This is the first webinar we've done in quite a while. Jocelyn and I usually don't jump into this format, but recently we just had our 4-year anniversary of quitting our jobs yesterday, actually, and we talked a lot to our members. We've talked we'll talk to everybody. Whoop, did we just lose the video feed? Lost the video feed. All right, we are back. Now you can see it again. So we wanted to make sure to get out here and answer some of these questions in a presentation that we've created for you guys tonight. All right, stick around until the end. We will be having a live Q&A. The presentation is about 30 minutes, maybe about 40. I get a little long-winded sometimes. I like to tell stories, but should take about 30, 45 minutes for the presentation. We will be doing a live Q&A at the end, answering any questions you might have. I will be stopping along the way to answer some questions as well. But we also have a special treat for you guys tonight. And everybody here is going to get a chance to be on our podcast. You know, our podcast is really different than other people who do interview shows that come on and they're, brag about their expertise and all that stuff. We bring on real people and we help them wherever they are in their journey. And we're going to give you a chance to do that tonight. So make sure you stick around so you can learn how to do that. And we will get to the presentation at hand. Jocelyn, I'm turning off my chat room for a second, okay? All right, looks like everybody can hear us again. Jocelyn in the chat room, if you could ask them if they could hear us, because we did lose the feed there for a second. All right. And once we get a little confirmation, looks like we've got some. Technology is great when it works. Richard says, I can hear you again. Make sure they can see the screen. Looks like they can on mine. Can hear you. Perfect. Awesome. All right, let's roll out. All right, tonight's topic is going to be how to quit your job and take full control of your life without losing everything you've worked so hard to build. And the reason that we called this presentation that is because we thought back to the beginning when we were like, man, can we quit our job? Can we go do something else? What would it be like if we didn't have to be somewhere at 7 a.m., if we didn't have to stay till 7 p.m. and nobody had any control of our life? We could just choose what we do every single day. We used to be scared about that because we were like, yeah, but what if we can't pay our bills? What if we can't pay our mortgage? We've got cars, we've got kids. How are we going to, put food on the table? It was really scary to think about trying to quit our job because we thought we'd lose everything else. And we realized after we did it, after we flipped our life, after we successfully quit our job and took control of our life, all those fears, they were kind of just there. They weren't really real. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, why you don't have to worry about that stuff, why it is possible to quit your job and take full control of your life. So let's talk about why you're here. Why would you respond to a title like, I want to quit my job and take full control of my life? I'm guessing you guys, or some of you are probably a lot like we were when we started out. We wanted more out of life. Our life didn't really look the way we thought it would look when we were like 34, 35 years old. That dream career kind of turned into a boring, soul-sucking job. It was a little bit of a nightmare in our case too, because we had some bad bosses and some job losses along the way. So we started like looking for something else. We always like to say, our life was good enough, but we kind of felt like we were settling for this, good enough, mediocre existence, just kind of barely pushing our way toward retirement. And I would say that a lot of you that are here tonight probably feel the same way. The truth is we've all been punched in the mouth by life and, things get in the way, right? Maybe you got into a career and you hit a plateau or a ceiling, got passed over for promotions. Maybe you lost a job through no fault of your own. That happened to me one time. I was doing my job. I was a hard worker, doing everything I was supposed to do. And then 2 schools consolidated and I was a football coach. So guess what? When 2 schools consolidate, they don't need 2 football coaches anymore. So I lost my job through no fault of my own. Maybe that's happened to you before. And maybe you're just sick of not having enough time with your kids and your family, always working, always having to put other people's needs, ahead of your own. And we want to tell you tonight that, sometimes life is just hard. Like that just happens. And a lot of times it's not our fault when things like that happen to us. I read this great quote the other day while I was kind of researching for this presentation. And it said, a cake is a very good test of an oven. If it browns too much on one side and not on the other, it's not your fault. You need to have your oven checked. And it made me sit here and think, back before we quit our job, back before we started, the businesses that we have today, we just had a broke oven. It didn't have nothing to do with our cake. It didn't have nothing to do with the recipe. We just didn't have the right oven. We were inside. Our cake was baking in the wrong oven, right? So that's probably what's wrong with you too. You're just doing the wrong things. You're in the wrong space, and you need something to change so you can actually have the life that you want. And we want to encourage you, as you listen to this presentation, you're going to hear a lot of examples tonight of other people who have done what we did. We're going to tell you how they did it. We're going to show you the steps that they went through, the process to get to that point of total freedom, to where you can walk in and tell your boss, later, dude, I'm out, right? And we want to say, if you can dream it, you can do it. When we started doing this and we started saying out loud what we wanted to accomplish, a lot of people said, you can't do that. Oh, that's not possible. But we're on the other side of it looking back, and we can say it 100% is possible. If you can dream it, you can do it. So make sure as you listen to this presentation, you're dreaming big, you're thinking about the possibilities. Don't sit there and be a doubter and be negative. Say, you know what? Maybe this is possible. They did it, and that person did it, and that person did it. Maybe this is real. If you can do that, you're going to get a lot more out of this presentation. And you've got to really kind of tune out all the naysayers in your life. Your boss doesn't want you to do anything different. Your boss doesn't want you to start a side business. Your boss doesn't want you to succeed, because without you, they can't do their thing. They can't pass all their work off to you. They can't put you in a meeting at 5 o'clock while they go play golf. They want you to trade all of your time and your life away just for a little bit of security, just for a little steady paycheck every 2 weeks. You can't listen to them. And you can't listen to other people in the world too, especially people who've kind of not walked down that path before. When you get someone who's like hopelessly dependent on the system, they want to hold you back because they believe society has it right. They want you to fit into their mold. They want you to get a job, go to work, get married, have children, follow whatever, watch TV, act normal, obey the law, and eventually get to retire. And, the last 2 or 3 years of your life, you kind of get to live good, right? You'll learn as you try to change your life. You're here, you want to do something different. But as other people find that out, they're going to discourage you because they don't have the courage to go do it. So you need to tune that out. You need to ignore all the stuff that the world's saying, because the world has it completely wrong. We've seen it from the other side. We kind of had our doubts in the beginning too, when we were like, man, can we do this? But, now we get to fly and travel wherever we want. We get to wake up every day. The other day at the total eclipse, Jocelyn and I just took off work for a couple of days, and we drove down to Tennessee so we could watch the full eclipse. That would have never been possible in our old job. We take our kids to all kinds of places. They've seen the Rocky Mountains. They've been to every amusement park on this side of the world. They've seen the ocean. All those things are possible, but not if you play it by the world's rules. Go get the 9 to 5, which really turns into a 9 to 7 because they make you stay extra. It's not possible there, but it is possible to do it if you do it the way we do it. We are proof. We live differently. We live a life of abundance. We have freedom. We have total control of our life. And no matter what your boss says, no matter what your coworkers say, no matter what the world says, we honestly believe that anybody can do what we do once they figure out the path that they need to walk. So if you've ever thought to yourself, right, man, I think my boss is holding me back. I think the world's holding me back. You're probably right. They want you to be under control. They don't want you to be free, but we do. We want you to be free. We want you to be like all the other people in our Flip Your Life community that are building a better life. That's why we're here. That's why we do this. Jocelyn and I actually just sold our other businesses so that we could focus full time on helping other people flip their life online. That's why we're here tonight at 9 o'clock on a Thursday, because we want to see you succeed. We want to see as many other people succeed as possible and help other people's children have the life that our children have and help other people find the freedom that we have through online business. All right, so let's talk about our goals for tonight real quick, and then we'll get started with the content. Number one, we want to show you tonight that real people have quit their jobs. Real people just like you, people working full-time, people with kids, they've done it. It is possible. There are a lot of people out there doing it, more than you ever think. It's almost like a hidden world. We're going to show you a lot of those stories tonight to let you know that it is real. And then we're going to show you the step-by-step process that you've got to do to make it happen in your own life. And we're going to dig deep into the 3 most important mindset shifts that we had to figure out, that we look back on and figured out along the way, that let us have the lifestyle that we have right now. All right, so how is it possible? How is it possible that you can do whatever you want, that you can have the life of your dreams, that you don't have to go to work to get paid? I mean, how do you get money if an employer doesn't pay you, right? How do you make money if you're not working 9 to 5? What do you mean you can work at other times? How is that even possible? Well, looking back, what we realized was the only way to successfully quit your job and take full control of your life was to use this amazing tool that we have now called the internet. And the best way to do it is by teaching and selling stuff that you already know. The only way for real people to build an online business while working full-time and raising kids is to follow that flip your life blueprint. That's the plan that we use to quit our jobs. That's what lets us work less than 20 hours a week right now and spend more time with our family. That blueprint, that plan that we followed, helped us make more money than we've ever could have made in our old jobs. It helped us get noticed. It helped us regain our confidence. We were a little beat down by life when we kind of thought, hey, there may not be more than this. This may be our sentence for the next 20 years until we get to retire, is to suffer through work every day. No, online business gave us our confidence back. It gave us our life back, and it helped us take total control of our life. It helped us get recognized in places like Forbes, Huffington Post, Business Insider, and on podcasts like the Smart Passive Income podcast with Pat Flynn. All of that was possible because we took a chance and we built something online. Online business lets us give our kids a life we never could have imagined. We live in the house of our dreams. We live on 30 acres of property. I was just taking Anna Joe on a drive on the other side of the lake the other day, and she asked me, why would anyone sell a place like this? And I said, what are you talking about? I'm not selling our house. And she goes, no, I don't understand why the guy even sold us this place. I mean, why would you give up that? And that's like and it just hit me. Wow, our kids are living a life that I couldn't have even dreamed of when I was a kid. It just, online business just opens so much opportunity up for you and your future. Let me tell you a little bit about before the blueprint, before we did this online business thing, so that you can kind of see where we've come from. When Jocelyn and I started out, we were school teachers. Jocelyn was an elementary school librarian, and I was a high school history teacher. I had to keep, 30 high school, juniors under control every day, every class period. And I coached football. So we were raising 2 little kids. Isaac was about 3 years old at the time, and Anna Joe there was about 18 months old. So we had our hands absolutely full. I mean, we did not have any time on our schedule. We were spending every single penny we had on diapers and formula, right? And that was the life we were living. And then something happened that was kind of negative. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is I got fired. I got fired out of nowhere because the whim of the voters in the county where I was working consolidated the schools. Now imagine how that feels. You've done everything you can. You've been working every minute of every day, sacrificing for the students there, doing everything right, never missing work. And out of nowhere, 2 schools just decided to consolidate because some people voted for it. And through no fault of our own, we lost our job and we had to move. All right. So that was the first time we realized, you can do everything right. And you can just accept things the way they are. You can work hard. You can do what the boss says, and you can still lose your job.
You can be the model employee.
Yeah, you can be the model employee. You can totally be perfect in everything you do, but your life when you're an employee is still under complete control of somebody else. So we went on and we moved to a new school district, got a new job. I was no longer a head coach. I was actually the defensive coordinator there, still teaching social studies. Jocelyn was the librarian in the same school district. So that was kind of good. But we never really saw each other much because we were in different schools. So, in the morning we kind of went our separate directions, and we worked with some good people. I had a couple good friends in that school, but primarily it was a really negative environment. Everyone complained a lot in the school. You probably had coworkers like that. Had some bad bosses, had some good ones. There was multiple principals in the school. Some of them were good, but some of them were just cold and cruel. And, it was a real corporate machine-like feeling. It almost felt like a prison, actually, because you were going to school every day and it was like block walls and you had to ask. I couldn't even go to the bathroom until the bell rang. So I had to.
Shane's class didn't even have windows in it.
I didn't even have windows. So I was like legitimately in prison every day. And it was just a really depressing environment. But you know what? We had two babies. We had Isaac. He was little. We had Anna. She was little. And, I had to go to work, had to pay the bills, had to do what everybody told me to do.
Do what society says is right.
That's right. Because, hey, listen, if you don't do that, you're not strong. You're not a good parent. You're not a good couple. You're not taking care of your responsibilities. So we did. We just suffered through it like everybody else. And, we created this like good enough life, right? Where we were like, I think we had convinced ourselves that that's what life was supposed to be like. Like if you weren't starving,
we're off during the summer. Like it's pretty good.
Well, I wasn't, because I had to coach football every day, every single day. And, like you could pay your bills, but like your paycheck kind of ran out the day before the next one came. Right. So you had a food on the table. I guess you were warm, dry, and fed, but it wasn't really good enough. There wasn't like abundance. There wasn't the next level of living. Everything was just kind of existing, kind of mediocre. So, but again, we had just kind of decided to go through it. That was our lot in life. This is what people do, right? And then one of the worst things that could possibly happen to a parent happened to us. We actually discovered one of our worst fears. Our little boy Isaac, who was 3 years old at the time, he was at a daycare center during the day because both of us had to work. We're just like millions of other people around the country, around the world. You've got to work. You got to take your kids somewhere. They got to be taken care of. He was too young for school, and everybody in my family worked. We lived in my hometown, and we had to go to a daycare center. At first, the daycare was great. Wonderful woman ran the place, but she ended up selling it. She sold out and retired. And we met with the people that owned the daycare facility. They seemed good. They seemed okay. Everything seemed fine. So we thought, hey, we'll stay here. Isaac loves this place. Anna's really little, and she just started. And the lady that was with Anna had been with Isaac since he was a baby, and she had worked for the old regime. So we thought, hey, let's just keep going. Everything will be fine. Well, Isaac started getting more upset when we would take him to the daycare center. And then he started really acting weird in other situations. He would get really stressed out and stuff his whole hand in his mouth and like chew on his mouth. And we didn't know what was going on. We couldn't figure out what was making him so upset. And he became really afraid of bathrooms. He was terrified to go into the bathroom, especially to do number 2. He would go pee, but he wouldn't go poo, right? So he was really scared to do that. And he was really terrified of the dark, like way more than even a little kid should be. All kids are a little scared of the dark. But Isaac was terrified of dark rooms, especially when the bathroom itself was dark. So one morning, we start investigating. We start figuring it out. Isaac has an absolute fit on me one morning and just screams and hollers and won't go to the people working at the daycare center. And I started doing some investigating, started making some calls. And I figured out, right then and there that Isaac was being psychologically abused at this facility. He was being mistreated. They were using some extremely harsh, almost torture to potty train kids at this facility. They were locking kids in bathrooms for hours at a time in the dead dark, no windows in the bathroom, turning the lights out and just locking them in. We heard one story where they took a 5 or 6-year-old kid and put a diaper on him and stood him up on a table and made all the other kids run around and point and make fun of him for having an accident to potty train him. And even one time we found out that someone had wiped poop on Isaac's nose like you would a dog to try to convince him not to go to the bathroom in his pants and go to the toilet. So of course I'm just horrified. I couldn't believe that, our son had been in this situation, and I just didn't know what to do. It was 7:30 in the morning. I had to be at school at 7:50. I was already running behind. And I start putting all the pieces together, and we find this out. It all comes to a head at this moment. And I didn't know what to do, but I was a good employee. Like Jocelyn said, I didn't want to miss work. I didn't want to not be there. I wanted to take care of my responsibilities, both my family and my employer. So I actually got Isaac and left and took this information with me, went to another facility where I knew the woman that was there as a child care professional. I knew her, I trusted her. And I said, take Isaac. I'll be right back. I've got to go to work first. I can't get a hold of anybody. I got to go tell them what's going on. Then I'll be right back. Okay. They'll understand. It'll be okay. So I'm driving up to school, just terrified, horrified, have no clue what's going on. And all I can think about is how fast I can get back to Isaac. Right. So I go to my class. I make sure the kids are sitting down. I go next door. I have the kids. I have a teacher come over and watch my classroom that was next door so he could watch both rooms. I said, hey, man, I got to go down and tell the principal I got to leave. Let me see if I can get a sub. So I go to the assistant principal. The main principal wasn't there that day. And this was like an interim principal. And I walked in and said, hey, this is what happened. I just found this out. My son needs me. I need you to get a sub, or can you go watch my class for me? Because, I've got to go. I can't stay here. My son needs me. And I remember her just sitting there real cool and cold and calm and looking right at me. And I remember taking her glasses off and saying, Mr. Sams, is your son in immediate danger right now? And I was like, well, no, but I need to get down there. I got to take care of this. I mean, he's just in some random place with this woman who he knows, but he knows things are out of whack and he's still scared of this place. And I got to go. And she said to me words I'll never forget. Mr. Sams, I'm sorry, but you can't go. I don't have a sub for you, and I don't have time to help you or watch your class. I have other things I have to do. So you'll need to handle this personal matter after school. And I know your son needs you, but your students and your school need you too. And at that instant, I had the most important realization in my life. When you sign a contract, when you go to work for somebody else, you're trading your life to them. You're not just getting a paycheck. You're not just doing work. You have basically entered into like indentured service, almost like a form of slavery to these people. They think they have total control of your life and that their needs and the needs of their organization, whether it's a corporation, a business, or a school, they think that takes precedence over you and your family. And this person had the audacity to tell me that my child was not the most important thing in my life, all because she sent me a paycheck every 2 weeks, all because they gave me health insurance for every month. And I almost blew a head gasket. And, basically I was threatened if I left that, I could be reprimanded, maybe even fired if I were to do that. So at that moment, I swore to myself, number one, I'm out of here. I'm going to my son. He needs me. Number two, as I'm driving back to get Isaac, I was just so furious at myself for believing that lie and putting myself in that situation that I couldn't be there for my son and I had to be there for somebody else. So at that moment, I started looking for something else for our family, another way of life where we could quit those jobs and get total control of everything we were doing. And anytime our children ever needed us again, we wouldn't have to leave them with someone else. We would be there for them. So I started looking around for things to do. I started studying books, started listening to podcasts, just trying to think of any way that I could make any money. And I usually did this while I was riding on my lawnmower. And one day, we went through a lot of options. Jocelyn had thought about opening a consignment store where she would buy children's clothing and sell them. We thought about, what else did we do? Jocelyn bought a sewing machine and started making curtains, basically.
Yeah, because I had that was during a time when I had actually lost my job. I was working at a school and
The funding went out or something, didn't it?
yeah, and basically there were two people certified as a librarian. One had tenure and one did not, and I was the one who did not. So I was the person who got kicked out of my building. So during that time, this was right before we started our business too. I didn't really have anything to do. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'll try to make curtains. There was just one problem. I wasn't very good at making
wasn't
curtains.
very good at sewing. So we tried sewing. That didn't work. And, I was always riding around on my lawnmower thinking about this stuff. And I was like, maybe I'll just mow grass. maybe I'll just quit my job and I'll just mow grass. But then I realized we lived in Kentucky and the grass doesn't grow like 4 or 5 months out of the year. So we would starve because like it'd be the middle of January and, Jocelyn wouldn't be selling any curtains and I wouldn't be able to mow yards. So that didn't work. And we just had all these crazy ideas. And I was like, man, there's got to be an easier way to do this. There's got to be other ways to make money than this manual labor and working for somebody else. So I was listening to a podcast one day and I started listening to this guy and he was making his entire living online. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? You're making money on the internet? You mean people are sending you money on the internet? Like, how's that even possible? But then as I started doing research, I found thousands more. There were thousands of other people that were making money on the internet that I found. I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a whole shadow economy that exists. So I started thinking maybe I can make money on the internet. And that's something that, Jocelyn and I have just adopted basically as our mindset. If someone else can do it, we can do it. That's what we thought to ourselves. Hey, I showed Jocelyn, like, somebody's making money online. She's like, well, try it and see if it works. And if you can do it, I'll jump in and I'll do it too. So if we find one person that can do it, it's possible. If we find many people doing it, it's probable. We found so many people doing it. And if they did it, we could do it. And if we did it, so can you. And this isn't like the MLM stuff. Like that stuff is not what we're talking about here. That's not the business opportunity we found. We absolutely despise like MLMs and all that stuff. Like, when you're that random person from high school you haven't talked to in 20 years, like send you a message that's like, hey man, I got this, a long time no see. I've got this great drink of flavored vitamin water that'll make you lose 30 pounds. Or somebody sends you a message and is like, hey, have you ever put one of these patches on? It'll burn a hole right through your skin, but you'll feel great doing it. Like those things are selling like opportunities. They're selling, those are pyramid schemes where they just want to get like, you get someone under you. And if they sell stuff, you get part of the money. And that's not what we're talking about here. All that MLM nonsense, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about MLMs. We're not talking about, going out and doing manual labor. We're talking about doing other things besides that. All that stuff is pretty much a waste of time. We figured out every road we went down, whether it was brick and mortar business, mowing people's grass, or even, like the parties like Mary Kay, where you can get a car and you can get a vacation and all that stuff. We researched that stuff and we figured out real quick that was a waste of time. That was a waste of money. MLMs fail at 97%. Like 97% of people who do MLMs make zero money. Like
somebody
no
said,
dimes.
What's a MLM? That's a multi-level marketing.
You see them all the
company.
time. Anyone who's selling Mary Kay and they try to get you to sell Mary Kay, or anyone who's
people
selling
who don't
Thrive.
sell products, they sell opportunities.
Yeah, Isogenics and Beachbody and all this stuff. You think you're buying diet products, but really they just want you to sell their diet products
and get other people to sell
and get other people to sell their diet products, and they make the money. Okay. So that's not, you'll see it all the time. Look on your news feed. Somebody right now, like when women do a makeup tutorial, you ever see those? You're scrolling through your news feed and your friend's like, I've got this new lipstick and it's the greatest thing ever. They're not selling you lipstick. That's something else. So that stuff didn't work. Brick and mortars fell 80% of the time. And good Lord, I mean, if you wanted to go out and rent a building for $1,000 and buy a bunch of equipment and try to open like a restaurant or something, I mean, you would go broke doing that. So that's not the kind of opportunity we're talking about here. What we're talking about is true online business. People find your stuff on a website, they click it, they send you money, and you send them the stuff. That's what we're talking about. Real business. You're dealing with strangers. You're not even dealing with the people that are around you. Most of us have ordered online, that you've done Amazon, or maybe you've even downloaded some kind of course, or you've signed up for some kind of product. Everybody's got Netflix. That's an online product. That's exactly what we're talking about. You put in your credit card, you send them money, they send you a password, you get access to all the movies you want for each month. Online business. Online business was the answer that we had been looking for. It gave us total freedom. I mean, anywhere with internet and a computer, we can basically run our business. It's infinitely scalable. If I open a business on Main Street, the only people that can ever buy anything from me are the people that drive by Main Street or see my ad in the local newspaper, because those would go real well. Online business is scalable. Anyone who has Google can search and find my products and buy them. Online business is easier and much more likely to succeed than every other business opportunity we studied. And we knew that it was exactly what we had to do to quit our job and take full control of our life. And it wasn't just us that did this too, by the way. We came up with this process. We figured out a plan to help us quit our job, to help us take control of our life. But we started letting other people go through this plan. People like Jeanette. Jeanette came into our community a couple years ago. I'll never forget her when she joined, and she asked all these questions. And, we sat her down. We're like, look, just follow the plan, A to Z, start at the top, work your way to the bottom. She's like, okay, I got it. And Jeanette is amazing. She's like a superwoman. She's got 6 kids. She started her online business with 6 kids. Her and her husband were both working full time when she started. Think about that. I mean, if you got less than 6 kids, you don't get to step up to Jeanette. You know what I'm saying? You got no excuses. But she was able to quit her job in just 3 months after starting the Flip Your Life Blueprint. So this online business thing works for us. It's worked for other people. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Jeanette later. She's awesome, and her story's incredible. Is Jeanette here? She shows up at our chats all the time.
Yeah, I've not seen her in here yet.
She might show up. Jeanette may show up. All right. So let's look at the 3 big things that we're here for tonight. These are the 3 secrets on how Jeanette quit her job, how we quit our job, how all these other people we're going to tell you about quit their job. The first secret that we look back, 2020 hindsight, right? You look back and you figure out how you did it. The first one is how everyday people quit their jobs and they control their lives while working full time and raising kids. A lot of the success stories that we see when we see people that are successful or make it, they're like 20 somethings. They're not quite adults yet. You know what I mean? They're people who moved to Thailand to live, on $6 a day, or, they're people who are, doing little side hustles when they don't have a husband, don't have a wife, don't have kids. They don't really have any responsibilities that they have to work around. No, that's not what we deal with. We deal with people who have full-time jobs, who have kids, who have spouses, who have other things, who are actually adults and are actually out there doing things. That's the kind of people we want to help. People in their career. What does it take for them to be able to start an online business and quit their job? Number 2, how can you get people you've never met to send you money? A lot of us are probably skeptical about buying things online sometimes. And you got to think, well, it sounds great that other, strangers would send me money. How do I make them do that? And especially on stuff I already know and do. What do you mean? I don't have to create a new product. I don't have to learn any new skills. No, you can get people you've never met to send you money for stuff you already know and do. We've done it thousands and thousands of times, thousands of customers over the years. It's extremely possible. And we're going to tell you how to do that tonight. And number 3, how to find the resources you need to build the life that you want. We started looking around and we said, gosh, our paycheck runs out on Thursday and we get paid on Friday.
And we were teachers.
And we were teachers in Southeast Kentucky, not exactly ballers rolling in dough, right? Where are we going to find the time? Where are we going to find the money? We got kids, we got church.
We're not trust fund babies.
Yeah, we're not trust fund babies. We had no parachute. There was no trampoline under the wire for us. How are we even going to find the resources to be able to do this? But when we started getting resourceful, we found the resources that we need, and they were actually hiding right under your nose. So let's talk a little bit about how working people with kids can do this. Let's talk about how to get people to send you money, and let's figure out where the resources are to actually start an online business. All right. Number 1, the truth is thousands of everyday normal people quit their jobs and take control of their lives every single day. We've seen people do it in our community. We know people that do it. We go to conferences. We meet hundreds of people all the time.
Probably thousands really at these conferences.
That are doing this every single day. And these are all people that are working full time and raising kids. We don't hang around with babies, right? We have a friend that says some millennial or something was trying to give them advice, and she was like, what did she say? I don't take advice from children, right? Like, until you're like over 30 and you're an adult and you're actually doing things, you have actual responsibilities in life. That's not what we're talking about. This is real people with jobs raising kids. How did they find time to start a business? All right, so let's go back to that story about Pat Flynn. Pat is a very famous internet marketer now. The podcast that I was listening to on that lawnmower when I discovered online business. And what drew me to him eventually, I kind of heard a little bit about online business, but I was skeptical. And I was like, how can I do that? I mean, I got too many things going on. I can't do that online business thing. But then I found his website and I saw Pat had a picture with his son. And I realized, hey, this dude's son is my son's age almost. They're like the same age. And he was holding his son. And so I started digging into his story. I was like, hey, man, this guy's got a family. This guy's got a little boy, a little girl. He's got a dog, right? This guy's a normal dude. And he's making his entire living online. And I found out that what pushed him into this situation was he lost his job and he had to figure out real quick how to make money, right? So I was listening to his podcast one day, trying to figure out what he was talking about, what he was doing. He didn't really give a lot of information away. And then I just happened to download the episode where he told his whole story. And apparently he used to be an architect, and he created a study guide for this architecture exam, I guess, to get your license. And hundreds of people bought it from him. He literally put a PayPal button up. People clicked it, gave him money, and he emailed them the PDF. And the first time he ever sold this thing, he made $9,000. I hit the brakes on that lawnmower, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a dude out there emailing people, and he's selling his emails for $50. I mean, what is going on? How is that even possible? And I started thinking to myself, well, if that's true, what could we do? What's something that we could do? Not learn how to sew or learn how to mow yards. Like, what could we actually do with the stuff that we already know? This dude was an architect. He got fired. He made something for architects. Well, Jocelyn is an elementary librarian. Maybe she could make lesson plans for people. And I was a football coach. Maybe I could make playbooks for people. Maybe we could get other people to send us money, and we would email them these lessons and these playbooks. So lo and behold, we tried this. We tried it. We created some lesson plans. Jocelyn created lesson plans for a month and sold them to librarians. She went around to forums and Facebook groups and just found some librarians. And she tried to sell these lesson plans to them. And the first time we ever sold anything, we made $2,700 off of these saved PDFs that we were going to email people for money. That was more than one of our salaries. That was literally more cash than one of us brought home in a pay period at our teaching jobs. I mean, that was enough money to pay our mortgage at the time, to pay our bills like our electric and our water, and buy our groceries. We literally went out, took action, swung for the fences, and we made enough money to actually pay our bills. Now, we didn't have enough money after that, and we had no safety net, but we proved the concept. We proved it was right. We made $2,700 in that first digital product. And it didn't stop there. In July of 2013, we made $15,000 in 1 month, which absolutely blew our mind, because I don't think we had ever seen $15,000 in our bank account at one time, as teachers. In August of 2013, the very next month, we made $36,000 selling playbooks and lesson plans, taking money and emailing people files. That's what we were doing, just like Pat had done. And we just looked at each other, and on September 27th, 2013, we quit our jobs because we had done it. We had figured out how to get an online business rolling, how to make money at it, and we had replaced our income, and we got to go live the life that we wanted to live. Again, it's not just us. It's so easy to get caught up in what we've done, but we want to always highlight other people. Evan Burse is another guy that came through the Flip Your Life community. Evan is an artist. He's an animator. He knows how to draw real well. And he now makes a living selling those videos. I mean, just like you would hold your phone up and record the fireworks at the 4th of July and post it to Facebook, Evan literally makes videos of himself drawing stuff to teach people how to draw. And he just uploads those to his website, and people pay to watch those videos. Just like you would pay to watch Netflix, people give Evan Burse money to watch these training videos. And Evan did this when he was married, working full time, raising 4 kids. I can remember when he first started out, we were telling him what he had to do, and he was like, "You guys are crazy. I got a job. I got a wife. She's got a job. We got 4 kids. How are we ever going to find, the time and stuff to do this?" I'm like, "Trust me, dude, you got this. I mean, you can make money. I know people that are doing what you want to do. Let's do it." So we talk Evan into making his first course. He's making about $800. It happens. He's got some videos. He's got some ads on YouTube. He's making a little money. He makes his first digital product, his first online business course. The first day it launches, Evan made $10,000. It was like, I remember me and Jocelyn were having like the happiest day ever, because he kept updating us on the sales, and we were just like dancing and clapping and just
we
having a
love
great
when
time.
We get sales, but we love it when our members get sales more.
Oh, it's 10 times better when somebody else does it. And in that first month, Evan actually made $30,000 in the first month that he was making it, and he quit his job a few months later. It took him a little while to kind of break the security line, right, and let it go. And also, he had a dream job. Evan had the job that he wanted. He was an animator at Marvel Studios. I mean, any other person on earth, would have loved that job on the outside looking in, but it was the same thing. It was good enough. It was not what he thought it was going to be when he wrote down his dream job. He was working overtime, massive hours. The boss always saying, "Hey, we got another deadline we got to meet. You got to stay in until 9, 10 o'clock tonight." And he said, "No, I want more control of my life. I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to do this." And he was able to build it. And all of the people that we're featuring tonight, unlike other people, we give their websites. If you listen, go talk to Evan. Evan will tell you about us, about the Flip Your Life community. He'll tell you about his story. His story is amazing. Check him out over at thecartoonblock.com. If you got kids that can draw, go send them over there. He draws superheroes. But check these people out. Look at these real people. You can reach out. You can talk to them. You can touch them. And they will show you what is possible. And the crazy thing is, the more you research this, the more you start uncovering rocks, you find people making money online everywhere. I found this study from the Pew Research Center, which is a really prestigious group, nonpartisan. All they do is polls and a lot of research. And they found out that 1 in 4 Americans are making money in the online economy. There's 300 million Americans, folks. 1 in 4 Americans are actually making money online. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, God, what am I doing? Why am I not making money online? Well, that's because you just don't know. 75% of the people don't even know it's there. It's like this new secret thing that you can get in on and find a way to make money off stuff you already know and do. And 1 in 4 Americans are already making money online. And, we had a lot of doubts that we could do this. So when we first started out, we really leaned on our faith and we said, hey, God, in the Bible, you say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, man. I can do all things. I mean, you're saying it. Well, this is one of those things where, can I do this? I think I can do this. I think I can make playbooks and sell them. I think Jocelyn can make lesson plans. I think Evan can make video tutorials. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things. The problem is, we can do all things, but we'll never do anything if we're too afraid to try. I can remember a point where we almost gave up. I can remember looking up and saying, this isn't possible. I can't do this. These other people hit the lottery. There's something going on. But then we made that first sale, and then we made the second sale, and then we made the third, the fourth, and then all of a sudden we were making real money online because we got past the part about being afraid. We were afraid, but we were brave. We were courageous, and we tried anyway, just like all these other people that are making it online too. So just remember, this isn't just Shane and Jocelyn. You didn't just stumble on, oh, these people made it online, or somebody else you may listen to or may have heard of. Thousands of everyday normal people quit their jobs and take control of their lives every single day while working full-time and raising kids. And millions, literally, Pew Research Center, millions of people are making money online. And if they can do it, you can 100% do it too. Anyone can do this. You just have to take action and try. Okay. All right. I want to point out again, if you've got questions, I see Jocelyn writing some stuff down. I see her marking some things, people asking questions in the chat. Ask your questions as we go. I am going to stop again here in a few minutes to take any questions you might have. I don't want to get too ahead of anybody if you've got a question about a segment that we're teaching. So get your questions in the chat box right now for that last section that we did. Jocelyn will take a few of those. And the next time we hit this big orange screen, we will take a question or two. And we are going to have a live Q&A at the end where you can ask anything you want about what we do and about what we teach online. Okay. All right. But right now, let's roll forward. All right. The second big thing that we learned is that you can get people you have never met to send you money for stuff you already know and do. And that's crazy when you think about it, because our entire life, the only thing we're ever taught is that the only people that will buy from you are people you know. Like, when you know Walmart, so you'll go buy stuff from Walmart. You know the guy at the dry cleaner, so you go take your dry cleaning stuff there. You don't think that total strangers all the time will just, come and give you money. But it's true. I'd say 99% of our income comes from people we've never personally shook hands with, never personally met, all people that found us on the internet. So back before we figured this out, when we discovered online business, we were starting to think of what we could do. I couldn't really come up with a good idea. And I was doing all these things, and Jocelyn thought I was crazy. Now, you can probably see why.
That's pretty much a daily occurrence.
This is like what Jocelyn's life is like every day, folks. I'm pretty much always coming up with crazy ideas and doing crazy things. So she was just kind of at first like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? So I kept asking the question, how can we do this, Jocelyn? How can we replace our income? How can we do this? So one day we were driving in the car, and I looked over at Jocelyn and I said, you know what we could do? If we could just get 100 people to give us $50. I mean, that's all we had to do. If they would just give us $50, 100 people, there's 7 billion people on the planet Earth, Jocelyn. If they would just give me $50, then we could probably make enough money to live on. That'd be like $5,000. So, and Jocelyn would just kind of look at me kind of cross-eyed and, act kind of funny and say, "But how many-"
Yeah, that's like so hard. Like, how on earth are we going to do that? We don't know that many people.
you know, that's not how it works. It's like one job gives you all your money. Like that's how it works. You can't get 100 people to give you $50. But I was kind of like, yeah, but if I could get 100 people to give me $50, that'd be $5,000. And if I could get them to do that 12 months out of the year, that'd be $60,000. So we could literally make enough money to live. And that's what started us thinking of, you know, more about the internet, more about, well, wait a minute, there's 100,000 librarians in the country. Well, I mean, that means we only have to get like what, you know, 100 of them, like 1/10 of 1% to send us $50 for these lesson plans. Or, you know, there's thousands of football coaches. You mean I only have to get 100 of them, you know, to get me, you know, like that's less than 1% of all football coaches. I can fail 99% of the time. I just need 1% of them to send me that money, and we can make enough money to live on. And that's what we said. That's how you get strangers to send you money. You put text files, you put audio files, you make videos, you put them on the internet. Google finds them. Think about how many times you've used a search engine this week. How many times have you went to Google or YouTube or Netflix or Amazon and searched for something and results came up? How do those results get there? It's because these people put something out there. They put their stuff online so that the search engines could find them. Thousands of people came to look at this thing, and all you have to do is get 100 people to give you $50 for your digital products, for your training courses, for whatever you're selling online, and you can make $5,000, $60,000 a year. If you can get 200 people every month to do that, then you can get $10,000 a month to make $120,000 a year, and it scales as far as you can make it go. Again, I go back to Netflix every time. Think how many millions of people are paying Netflix $9.95 a month or $14.95 a month. It's because they put this service out there. It met a need for people, and these total strangers send them that money every single month. So Jocelyn put all of her lesson plans behind a membership paywall, because we kind of looked at each other and said, you know, we could sell these one-off products, but what if we made people pay for access just like Netflix? She charged about $50 a month. It was like 49, but we're bad at math, so we're just going to use 50 because it's a good round number. And Jocelyn grew that membership to over 1,000 members. Now think about that. 1,000 people paying $50 a month. And that was only 1% of the entire market. She didn't have to go out and convince every school, every librarian. She just had to find 100, 200, 1,000 people to send her that much money a month. And these are total strangers. Jocelyn did a live event for librarians one time. How many people were there? Like 20?
Not even that many.
Not even that
Probably
many.
like 12.
So she literally probably has met in her lifetime
Less than 20.
Less than 20 people that ever have sent her money. Total strangers giving her money every month for these things that she created one time, and they sell them forever. That's called passive income. People log in, people get it. We never talk to them. We never see them. And you make money every month. Again, it's not just us. This is Brad Barrett. Brad is an awesome member of our community, one of the founding members of the Flip Your Life community and the Flip Your Life Blueprint. He was an accountant. And when he came to us, you know, he was just kind of, you know, going through life being an accountant. I hate math, so I can't imagine how bad life would be if I was an accountant. I know some people love being accountants, but he was just kind of not satisfied. He wanted more out of his life. And he was like, well, how can I make money? Can I be an accountant? What can I do for accountants? Can I teach accountants anything? And we started digging, and he's like, you know, one thing I know how to do is I know how to go to Disneyland for free. Yeah, me and my wife, we like to save money, and we figured out how to go for free by using credit cards on credit card points. And he went to Disney World for free. He created a course, videos and blog posts that literally just taught people how to use credit cards, pay them off every week, and accumulate enough points to fly and go to Disney World for free. That site replaced his income. It was his hobby. It was a little side thing he decided to try just to see if he could do it. And then he started teaching other people. And that let him, Brad, quit his job and take total control of his life. He's still fully self-employed to this day. He's got multiple businesses. He's got an awesome podcast that he launched that just went over 1 million downloads. And all of that happened because he said, hey, I know something. I can teach it to strangers, and they will pay me to learn it. Because if they'll pay me $500, they'll save $10,000 on a Disney trip. That's worth it. That's easy. And that's what he did. Here's another crazy example of this. And I'm going to ask you a question that I guarantee you've never been asked on a webinar before. What do goldfish and Venus flytraps have in common? I'm going to give you a second. Talk amongst yourselves. You can put guesses in the chat. I'm gonna give everybody a chance to guess. 5, 4, 3. All right, 2, 1. All right, here's what they have in common. If you know how to keep either one of these things alive, it's worth over $20,000. I've got a friend named Josh, and he created a simple, like 10-page PDF on how to keep a goldfish alive. I mean, think how many people do that every day in the world. They go to the store, they bring home a goldfish in a bag, they put it in a bowl, and the kid kills it within a week, right? So people are like, man, I got to keep this goldfish alive. How do I do that? He sold 20,000 copies of this basically PDF that told, or $20,000 worth of copies of this PDF that told how to keep a goldfish alive. Then we had another member of our community come in, and he was like, hey, I've got an idea for a business. Do you think it'll work? And we're like, okay, well, what is it? And he's like, Venus flytraps. And we're like, are you going to sell Venus flytraps? What are you going to do with Venus flytraps? And he goes, no. He goes, I'm a master Venus flytrap person. I can raise them better than anybody else. They're like bonsai trees. You know, those little bonsai trees where you have to cut and mold and make them whatever they are. Yeah, I can keep Venus flytraps alive, and I'm going to teach people how to do Venus flytraps. And I'm like, are there a lot of Venus flytrap enthusiasts out there? And he's like, oh yeah, man, it's kind of like a subculture. Lo and behold, we looked it up, and there are these people who joined his community, and the dude ends up launching and creating a membership worth $20,000 a month, keeping Venus flytraps alive. Craziest thing I've ever heard. And the moral of the story is, everybody knows something. You have an idea, a hobby, work skills, or life skills that you can teach to somebody else, people that may be a little behind you on your journey. And every idea has hundreds, if not thousands of people looking for it online. You are expert enough at what you know. You don't have to be ahead of anyone or have a PhD or years of experience. You just have to be a little ahead of somebody else to take them by the hand and teach them. Jocelyn was a librarian for 3 years.
For 3 long years.
3 long years. But 3 years, when it's like dog years. It felt like 21 years. You know what I mean? But like, she basically launched a website where thousands of librarians now use her lesson plans, and they never know she's not a PhD teaching at Harvard about how to be the best librarian ever. She's just a librarian who had solutions for a problem.
And I just want to speak to that a little bit, because we've had several people saying that that is a big hang up for them, that they have self-doubt and they're not sure that they are expert enough to do this. And I just want to say that, you know, I had the same concerns when I started out, because like Shane said, I had only been a librarian for 3 years. Like, who's going to listen to me? I mean, I had barely, I was a librarian for 2 years. I got fired, basically. I didn't get fired, but I lost my job.
You know, when you say it out loud, the resume is terrible when you think about it, to be able to do something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had to like figure out what I was going to do. And, you know, if you think about it in your job, if somebody had been there for just a couple of years and you've been there for 15 years and they start telling you, well, this is the way I would do it, like, you know, you're not going to like that. And that's what I said to Shane. I'm like, you know, people aren't going to like this. They're not going to like my lesson plans. But when I started writing and I started talking about the problems that I was having in my library, and people started saying, oh, yeah, I have that problem too.
That's right.
And because I put myself out there and started talking about it, they trusted me and they bought my products.
And there's always someone behind you. There's always someone that has less experience or has that need. And that's what Jocelyn tapped into. You can take my playbooks. My playbooks sold thousands of dollars in playbooks. I still get people I took all that down because I wanted to put it behind me, because we're doing Flip Lifestyle now. We want to focus on the people that we're serving. I still get messages every week about people looking for my playbooks. I was 3-27 as a head football coach. I took over a horrible program for my first job. They had never won a game before I got there, and I only won 3 in 3 years. And one of those was because the other team didn't show up and they forfeited. I mean, this is sad now, folks. And I sold.
This is a true story.
It's a true story. But I knew exactly why we lost. Everything in my playbook answered the questions. And I thought to myself, you know what? Half the football teams every year lose more than half of their games. Think about it. Every time someone wins, somebody else loses. So half those teams are having losing seasons. And I had losing seasons, and I figured out why. Went to another school as a defensive coordinator. We turned a program around, won a bunch of games. And I realized, man, it doesn't matter if I was 3-27 a head coach. I figured out why, and I solved the problem, and I fixed it at my next job. And I'm going to teach other people how to do that too. Evan had never sold a digital product before in his life, and he sold $30,000 in his first month. Brad had only been to Disney free like twice. Like 2 times, a couple times, a few times. It wasn't like he was this Disney planner and had been doing this for years. He figured it out and immediately started teaching people that didn't know. And you can do the same thing. You can do this right where you are with what you already know. There are people behind you. There are people you can teach. There are people with problems that you can solve, and people need you.
And Shannon says, do you just not tell people about your experience?
No,
Exactly.
you
Unless
don't tell
someone
them.
asked, if someone outright said to me, hey, how many years have you been a librarian? Then I would have been happy to tell them, hey, I haven't been doing this a super long time. I've been doing it 3 years, but these are the things that I've learned along my journey.
And that's happened before. And a lot of times they write back and they're like, wow, that's awesome. You have a lot of insight for somebody that only did it that long. And I'm really thankful that you put this together.
And let me just say, we would never intentionally mislead someone.
No, you don't
I
do
think
that.
that, if you want to omit the information and speak when spoken to type thing, that's the way that we've always done it. And I can count on one hand the number of people who have ever asked me about my
One, oh yeah,
credentials.
no one's ever asked. And like when you you get emails from football coaches that are like, Coach, we had our first winning season in years, and it was all because of your playbook. I'm like, heck yeah, man. That's because I suffered through the 3-27 season, so you don't have to, right? Or when Brad says, "Oh man, I went to Disney for free. I never thought that I could afford to go to Disney for free. Thank you." They don't say, but before, going back now, can I have my money back because you only went twice or 2 or 3 times, right? That's not how it works. All people really care about is that you can solve
their
problem, right? If you can literally go out from scratch and learn a new skill. The funny thing about Josh's fish playbook, the fish thing that kept the goldfish alive, he never owned a fish. He studied how to keep a fish alive and consolidated and curated all the information into a booklet. And that's what he sold. He had never even had a goldfish before. So basically, he made money on something he had never even done, but he took the time to learn it. And that's what you're going to do. You have something that you are an expert in, that you're expert enough in, that you can help somebody else with.
And people care more that you're a real person who's trying to help them solve their problems
Yep.
than for you to be a PhD, Nobel Peace Prize award winning whatever.
Well, think about the people that listen. I mean, now granted, Jocelyn and I have like a lot of notoriety. We've been in the press. We have a very popular podcast, but neither one of us has an MBA from Harvard. Neither one of us.
I'm an MBA dropout.
Jocelyn's
That's a fun fact for you.
She's a dropout. she started her MBA and said, forget this, and she quit. But now we're like sales and marketing experts. But it's because of our experience. It's because of the things we've learned in our life. And that's why we get to be the expert. That's why people who don't know as much about this stuff come to us, because we're ahead of them. There's people ahead of us. There's people ahead of us. They are expert enough for us, right? You are expert enough for somebody. And, we go back to the Bible a lot, and we're Christians and we draw a lot of our inspiration from the Bible. And, a Bible verse that really stands out to me is Exodus 35:35. The Bible says the Lord has given us all special skills as engravers, designers, embroiderers, etc. They excel at craftsmen and as designers. And like, God has put something in every single one of us, a purpose, a reason for being here, something that we know that other people don't. And everyone has it within us to go. People come into our community all the time and they're like, I don't know what to do. I just don't think I'm good enough for anything. What could I possibly sell? What would people want from me? And we're telling them, no, dig. We can find it. You do know something. You do have something. You just have to believe it. And when you see it, you got to take action on it.
And all of us were made for so much more than to just go sit at a desk every day.
Oh, man. I mean, I think back at how miserable I was during lunch. You ever been at your job and you're like trying to find a place to be totally alone at lunch because you're just miserable and everyone's negative? And, I just did that day after day. And I used to like text Jocelyn and be like, oh my gosh, get me out of here now. And now that we see on the other side how much of a difference we can make if we'll just open up and let ourselves go, we all just have so much more untapped potential that we need to tap into. So just remember, you do have something that you know. If you take action and you create a solution to someone's problem, they will come and they will pay for it. You can get people you've never met to send you money for stuff you already know and do. We do it all the time. You just have to figure out what you know, create a product, and put it on the internet, and people will buy it. All right. Are there any questions right now, Jocelyn, in the chat room?
Yeah, there are a lot of questions.
Let's do one right now, and we'll save a few of them for the end. There's going to be another Q&A, but let's hit one right now. And what do you got?
All right. Several of them were about overcoming fear and, the expert enough. And I think that we kind of covered that in the last. So let's go to the oversaturated market. We have a couple of people that are concerned about, are there too many people doing what it is I
Right.
want to do or what I'm considering doing?
Well, the first thing on that first question, you know, the great thing about like what we do is we help people figure out their idea. We help people do the research. So, you know, the hard part is really not figuring out what you can do. It's figuring it out alone. So we can totally help you with that if you need help with it. Cause I know we had multiple people ask that question. But oversaturation does not happen. It just can't happen. It's the internet is too big. The world has changed so much. You know, like we always think in a local economy. You know, if 5 restaurants open on the same street and they all sell chicken, guess what? Somebody's going out of business because you know there's only so many places that are going to be able to sell chicken in any given town, unless you're our town where we have the first Kentucky Fried Chicken ever. So you're going to sell a lot of chicken here, but that's an oversaturated market. You can't have 15 lawyers in one street in a town of 5,000 people. You know what I mean? That's oversaturation. But when you think about the internet, there's millions and millions and millions and millions of people. And, you know, if there's 100,000 people that need that solution and there's 100 people that are offering that solution, well, we can all have 1,000 customers to pay us $50 a month. So it's the law of large numbers. It's the scale of the world. 4 billion people on the internet, 3 billion people that are coming online every day, right? And most markets are not oversaturated. And even when they are, you can find a niche. Like the football coaching market, I was worried about that when I started. I thought, oh, I'll never be able to sell playbooks. There's these big companies that sell all these videos and these national champion coaches like, you know, Bill Parcells and Bobby Bowden and like all these famous coaches I could never sell a playbook. The market is too saturated. But then I realized nobody was selling playbooks about this certain playbook. All right. About this certain defense that I ran called the 3-3-5 defense. And they definitely were not marketing it toward high school coaches with losing records. So oversaturation is almost not possible. Any idea you have with a slight tweak, you can go find customers. And remember, all you got to do is find 100 people to give you $50 a month to make $5,000 a month, or 200 people and you make $10,000 a month. So it's not like you've got to go out and find everyone in the world. You just got to find a couple hundred people with that thing that you know how to do and serve people, and you'll be able to do it too. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get this last third one in. I'm a little bit over time, so I want to make sure we get to the Q&A. You know, we're going to stay up for a little while and answer any questions you might have. But let me go ahead and finish this presentation, and then we'll take some more questions, okay? All right, the next one is we all have the resources we need to be successful right now. You know, when Jocelyn and I started, I dug this picture up, Jocelyn. Check this out. I looked for it everywhere. This is a picture Jocelyn and I took like at a 4th of July family reunion one time, and it's Anna Joe looks awesome. I love this picture. But when we started, we were time-pressed parents. You know, we had an 18-month-old that was totally not self-sufficient. We had a 3-year-old who was very accident-prone, clearly by the bump on his forehead in this picture. And, you know, we were living paycheck to paycheck. And like I said earlier, it was one of those paychecks that legit ran out like the day before it was due. So we'd be like, okay, let's go buy groceries on the credit card. Then we'll pay it off tomorrow when we get paid. And, you know, the cycle ends and continues. So we thought to ourselves when we started out, like, how could we start a business? We started like looking for buildings for her, Jocelyn's, you know, to this day does not exist consignment store. I mean, we couldn't afford to pay $1,000 a month for rent. I couldn't even afford a new lawnmower to mow yards. So how are we going to start, you know, an online business? Well, the good thing was money isn't the problem. Online business is not that expensive to run, we found out. And also money replenishes itself. Like, you know, you're going to get paid at your next paycheck if you have a job. You can spend every dime you have now and all the money would come back. You may have to spend it again, but it's going to keep coming back over and over. And you can sell stuff. We sold books and had yard sales to make extra money. You know, some people pick up extra jobs. I've got a good buddy to fund his online business. He picked up a pizza route. Like, there's ways to get money. Money replenishes itself. But the truth that we realized is that time matters more than money. You can always get more money, or you can do things for less, but you can really never get more time. So we started thinking to ourselves, how are all these other people successful? Like, how's Beyonce so successful? She's got the same amount of time I do. We've all got 168 hours in a week. How does the president be successful, right? How's that even possible? Like, how do all these millionaires and billionaires, they have 168 hours a week? They can't just make more time. Just like us, everyone that starts out, any business like this has 168 hours. So we realized we were doing something different with our resources than the successful people were. So we started thinking, what are the successful people doing and how can we do it too? So one night we got my mom and dad to watch the kids, and Jocelyn and I went on a date night to the Mexican restaurant with 2 goals. First goal, eat chips and salsa. Why? Because chips and salsa is amazing. All right. And we like to eat chips and salsa. All right. Number 2, take back our 168 hours. Before that dinner was over, we were going to figure out where every minute of our time was going and how we could redirect some of that time back to online business. Romantic date night. Let me tell you, that's what everybody does on date night, right?
That's pretty much like what all our date
That's pretty much,
nights
yeah.
are
Now it's like, that's all of our date nights, chips and salsa and figuring out what we're going to do next. All right. So what we figured out was we all have 168 hours. So we took a huge sheet of paper and we drew 168 squares. We literally did this by hand with pencil so we could erase it. And we brought some highlighters too. And while we're eating chips and salsa, we drew this big grid. The first thing we put on our time grid of 168 hours for the week was non-negotiables, things like sleep, eating, a little time to go to the bathroom every day, taking care of kids. Anna Jo was 18 months old. Someone had to feed her, right? What else is a non-negotiable? Sleep, right? Anything that you have to do to live. Some of your hours of every 24-hour period are gone. And, our jobs, things like that. So we put those on the calendar first. And we said, okay, there's those hours. Then we said, well, wait a minute. Something that's really important to us is spending time together with each other, spending time with our children, quality time, focus time. Even if it's just 20, 30 minutes a day, we wanted to put that on the calendar next. So we did that next. And then we started asking ourselves, that's the most important things in life. What are we doing with the rest of our time? Where are we wasting time and where can we get time back? And we realized we were just wasting so much time that we could have been building a business with. We were watching TV at night. I was staying extra in the locker room after practice to joke and cut up with the guys. We were taking the long ways on our commute instead of being efficient and cutting down 5-10 minutes here and there. And we just found all this extra time, all this extra white space on our calendar. Once we started putting in the non-negotiables, we realized we had more than enough time to do this. We just weren't prioritizing the right things. And we learned a very valuable lesson that our calendar is our actual priority list. You may write a to-do list. You may say this is the most important thing in our life. But if you hand me your calendar and I look at it, I will see what you actually value the most. We saw right in front of us what we were valuing, and it was not what we needed to be valuing. The calendar is what we had to take control of. So we said, instead of putting TV here, instead of putting, that extra hour and a half, joking around with the dudes in the locker room, what if we said this hour goes to online business? What if we said the commute goes to training? I'll listen to training on the way there. I'll listen to a podcast instead of listening to, talk radio, people fighting about politics. Instead of spending an hour on Facebook every night, I'm going to turn Facebook off and spend an hour on setting up a component for my online business. And we found 1 hour, 2 hours. Eventually we found like 10, 15 hours a week that we had just been wasting, and we made it a priority.
And it sounds crazy, but I mean, it's as simple enough as turning off notifications on your phone. If Facebook is not pinging you every 5 seconds, then you're not going to be looking at it every 5 seconds.
I actually took voicemail off my phone during this time.
We both did.
We both did. I taught Justin into it. I did it first. Don't let her fool you. But I actually took voicemail off my phone because I realized I was spending like 15, 20 minutes a day checking voicemails. And I was like, well, this is stupid. Why do I listen to these voicemails? I see their phone number. If I want to call them back, I will. So I just took voicemail off my phone. And that alone got me 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes every 2 days. Every 4 days was an hour back in my life that I could work on my online business. Little things like that add up. And when you really start prioritizing what's most important, if you value changing your life, quitting your job, and taking control of everything in your life, you have to take control of your calendar. Now we don't have to do that. Our calendar is pretty much under our, we do whatever we want now. We travel, we work about 20 hours a week. We get to do that now because we learned how to do it then. That was the biggest difference maker in everything. Not in $1 billion invention or winning the lottery idea. It was just getting control of our time, being decisive, and making things happen. And that's what led to the life that we get to live now. I'm going to go back to Jeanette now. I told you about Jeanette earlier. Jeanette has an amazing time priority story. You know, we told you Jeanette had 6 kids when we met her. Her and her husband were both working full time, but she was able to get control of everything and quit her job in just 3 months. One of the biggest differences that she made in her life was taking our calendar course and taking control of those 168 hours. You know, the first thing she said to us was, oh, I just have no time. I got 6 kids. We're both working full time. I just, you know, I get home at 9 after work. I'm so tired. I have no energy at nighttime. I just come home, the kids go to bed, and it's 9 o'clock before I even get started. And, I just got to unwind and relax. And, I can't even think about work. And we're like, well, what are you doing? She was like, well, I'm staying up till, maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. And we started talking. And we're like, have you always done that? And she was like, I used to go to bed at like 9 and get up at 4 a.m. And we're like, do that. Just make that one change. Whatever you're doing from 9 to 11 is unproductive anyway. Go to sleep. So she did that. She got up at 4 o'clock every day and worked from 4 to 7. Her 6 kids were not up at 4 to 7. She was still getting plenty of sleep, 7 hours of sleep. She was still doing everything she had to do to take care of her family and go to work. But she found a moment in her calendar that she could prioritize for her business. She did that for 3 months, 3 hours a day, every morning, Monday through Friday, and it let her quit her job. The only change she really made was making the time to do it, prioritizing her future over the little bitty present benefit of whatever she was doing during that time. And that's how Jeanette used the blueprint to change her life. And I read this awesome article in Forbes the other day where they were talking about like why people were successful. And they looked at millionaires and billionaires. They looked at the most successful people on the planet. And what they found was millionaires and billionaires, the biggest common denominator on all of them was that they control their calendar. They don't make to-do lists and they don't rank things up and down on them, and they don't have endless things to do. They really just are ruthless with their calendar. They're ruthless with that 168 hours. And that's how they get to be in Forbes magazine. That's how they get to where they are. That's how we got to be in Forbes magazine. That's how we got to be where we are. It's because the calendar is the most important component of the entire thing. I'm going back to the Bible again because the Bible's pretty smart, y'all. God knows what he's doing. And when I thought about this, as I was making this presentation, I was like, we had 2 small kids. Brad had 2 kids. Evan had 4 kids. Jeanette had 6 kids. Like, I wonder who had the most kids in the Bible. So I looked it up, and in Judges 8:30, it said Gideon, this warrior, this general, this conqueror, this judge, this leader, had a lot of responsibility now. He had 70 sons. It didn't even tell us how many daughters he had. He had over 70 children. And that dude's in the Bible. He's successful. He's powerful. He made things happen. So if you got, I know we've all got kids, and I know we've got jobs, and I know we had things that we had to do, but you can find the time. If Gideon had 70 kids and he found the time, if you ain't got 70 kids, you don't get to talk to Gideon, right? But if you got less than 6 kids, you don't even get to talk to Jeanette. So we've all got time. It's just a matter of how we're making our priorities happen. Everybody has exactly the same amount of time, y'all. 168 hours a week. The only difference between successful people and everyone else is that they use their 168 hours wisely with priorities, and they don't make excuses. We had time. They have time. You do have the time. That's the biggest resource you need to focus on if you want to make this happen. Okay. All right. So let's get a real quick review before the Q&A here in a few minutes. One, the 3 mindset shifts you've got to make, you've got to believe, are that real people are doing this. We can show you dozens more. We have over 4,000 success posts in our community forums that you can go read if you want to. Real people are doing this every day while they're working full time and raising kids. You do have a great idea. You do. It's in you. You know something that you can teach somebody else, and people will pay you for it. It's probably happening right now. You just got to go jump in front of the traffic when they search for it. And number 3, you do have the time to make it happen. You think you don't have the time, but I'm willing to bet everyone that's listening to my voice can find 1 to 3 hours in a week that they could work on this thing and make it happen. Will it happen a little slower than some people? Maybe, but it will happen if you make the time, if you use your resources for that. Okay. Now, after you figure those things out, you need a plan. That's what we actually provide to our members, for Evan, for Jeanette, for Brad, for everybody that's ever been a part of our community. We provide a blueprint to help them stay excited, to keep them from getting overwhelmed, because it's one thing to have an idea. It's one thing to think you can do it. But when you start doing it, and things get tough, it can get a little overwhelming, right? Because starting a business of any kind is kind of like drinking from a fire hose. And this is how Jocelyn and I felt when we started our online business, because we had no help. We had nobody helping us figure this out. It was all trial and error. Everything was a guessing game. Everything was just trying to figure out where to start, what to do. And it really was like, oh my gosh, this is going to kill us because we're going to drown in all this information. So when we started helping other people, we had to help people take it one bite at a time. We had to slow the deluge down so that they didn't drown and give up. We had to turn that torrent of water into a water fountain, into controlled, so you can take it one drink at a time, one step at a time. And that's why we created the Flip Your Life Blueprint. This is the course that's inside of our Flip Your Life community. This is the course that Jeanette used. This is the course that Evan used. This is the course that Brad used. This is the information that got them to where they are today. It's a fast track to your success. It took us about 13 months to quit our job. Okay. And about 9 to 10 months was figuring all this stuff out. Trial and error, literally not doing very good. Okay. We weren't making as much money as we should have. We weren't being as successful as fast as we could. A lot of trial and error. As we've now helped hundreds and hundreds of other people, we have refined this process down so that people can get through this first part of their business quickly in 2 or 3 months. And then they can start doing the things like sales and marketing, getting their time under control, building their business, setting everything up, and being successful faster than we were.
And a lot of this stuff, we learn from trial and error, like you were saying. But then the other day, we were counting up the amount of money that we have personally spent, the amount of time that we've spent learning all of these things that we pass on to our members. So you're getting kind of the culmination of all of the knowledge that we've acquired through paying for it, through meeting
Traveling.
people,
Yep.
through all the different things that we've done. Like, you're basically getting the Cliff's Notes version of that
Yeah.
in this course.
Yeah, we've basically spent almost $100,000 ourselves on training, on traveling, on coaching, on helping other people, doing live events. Like, we took everything we've learned from all the people we've ever encountered, and we put it into this one plan called the Flip Your Life Blueprint. This is the step-by-step plan we use. It's a step-by-step plan anybody can use. It's going to help you set and achieve your goals, learn how to research and validate your idea. I know a lot of you are kind of on the fence right now going, man, do I really have an idea? We help people figure out their idea and take action on it. Well, then you say, what am I going to sell? We help you figure out how to create your product. What's it going to look like? How are you going to deliver it? That was the hardest part for us, was how to take a payment and how to get it to the person. We could not figure that out in the beginning. It probably took me 3 months just to learn how to do that on my own. But we put this in here so you can do it faster. How to get a website set up, how to do all the marketing and sales training. Those are skills that you've got to learn if you're going to be successful. And you have to really be taught them, because it's hard to figure it out on your own. We have a full-time management course that goes through our 168-hour training to make sure that you do have the time and the resources that you need to build this thing out, help you set up your business. Am I an LLC? Do I need to get a sole proprietorship? Do I need a bank account? Do I need a post office? What do I need just to be a legit business? How do you pay taxes? They're going to come for their money, right? We tell you how to do all that stuff, how to set up recurring income so that you don't sell a bunch of stuff one month and then sell nothing the next. How do you make people pay you month after month, year after year? How to create the content, grow an audience. Everything that we had to do to get to where we are today, we've put inside the Flip Your Life Blueprint. And it's not just a blueprint. This is not just a course. One thing that really upset us when we first started out was we would buy courses and we would go in and there would be just videos. That's all it would be. And they wouldn't even be complete. It wouldn't even tell us how to do everything. It would tell us to do like one part. So when we created the Flip Your Life community, we said, no, we want this to be a community of hundreds of entrepreneurs from around the world. We want to put leadership in place. We have community managers on opposite sides of the planet. One of our community managers is here tonight. Her name's Kat. Our entire team is located in different parts of Asia. We have people in America. Someone is in our community from our team, basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And hundreds of people log in every week to see what's going on, to set action plans, to see what other people are up to, and to help each other to move forward in their business. So this is a community. This is a huge piece of accountability to go along with a complete plan from A to Z, the day you decide to do it until the day you make your first money, until the day you quit your job. That's what the Flip Your Life Blueprint and the Flip Your Life community is designed to be. The crazy thing about our community that's different than almost any other community out there for online entrepreneurs is how just relatable and how good everyone is to each other. We've really worked hard to cultivate an environment where we're bringing in people who have kids. We're bringing in people who are going the same direction. We're bringing in people who are working full time and want to do this. We're bringing in people who are like-minded and moving to the same place in life, right? Positive people. We work really hard on who we let into our community so that everyone is good to each other. And I was just doing some math the other day, and every question that gets answered or that gets asked inside our general discussion forum has an average of 5 replies. 5 different people are replying to these questions when people ask them, to these posts that people put in the forums. And that ain't all me and Jocelyn. That ain't all Kat. That's the community rallying around each other, smart people, good people who genuinely want to see each other succeed. So, when you get inside the community, you're going to meet people like Jeff Twitty. Jeff Twitty is an awesome dude. He built an online business while working full time, raising a family. He's got a beautiful little girl. And this dude had a 3-hour commute. I mean, if you've got a commute, I bet it ain't 3 hours. It might be. You need to talk to Jeff because he figured it out. And he figured out how to start his business with a 3-hour commute. And he built a business that now makes $250,000 a year. He put it all together in a few months, solely listening to what me and Jocelyn told him to do. And just an absolutely wonderful community member, a great inspiration. You'll meet people like Rebecca and Dan Decker. They started a health-related membership website, and she has over 400 members today. They both work from home, just like me and Jocelyn do. Like, imagine what that would do for your family if you both could stay at home every day, if you both could work together on your business toward a common purpose, if your kids could see you doing that. Like, we are seeing the fruit of that in our own children. Jocelyn and I take our kids to school together every morning. We're always the only family where the mom, the dad, and both kids are in the car together. We go eat lunch with our kids, and our kids come home and they come in here. They're sitting at our desk. They're trying to act like podcasters. They're trying to act like they're hosting a webinar.
They have a YouTube channel.
They have their own YouTube channel, flkids.tv, which I actually went online today, and their YouTube channel has made $11 in ads. I forgot to tell you that. So like our kids are 6 and 8, and they've already made their first money online. And it's because we're here. It's because we're present, just like Dan and Rebecca. Imagine if your kids could see you doing that every day. What a difference, not only for them, but for your entire family tree in the future. Another great example of an awesome community member that we've helped is Rena Oriano. And I can never pronounce her name because it's Spanish or Portuguese or something. I'm from Kentucky, y'all. We say things funny. But when Rena joined the community, she was a flamenco dance instructor. And she was like, do you think I could find enough people that wanted to do flamenco dancing, which is like, the dance. I don't even know. I might turn the camera on and try it here in a minute, but probably not.
No, I don't think that's
I don't think we should do that. But she was a flamenco dancer, and we're like, sure, record yourself doing it. Whatever you would teach someone one-on-one, teach that in a video course. She launched and got over 100 members at $29 a month inside of her flamenco dance studio. They go watch her teach, and these people are loving it. They're a community of flamenco enthusiasts, and they found their leader in Rena, who started a community, and she has almost 200 members today. And, it enhanced her living. It made her studio more viable. And she's reaching out to people all over the world with her passion, with what she loves to do. There's literally hundreds of people all over the country. You can see here pictures from our live events that we do, going out and meeting people that are in our communities, people from all over the world, all backgrounds that are moving together, building online businesses and changing their lives, taking total control of their time and finding freedom. And that's because of the Flip Your Life Blueprint. And just like the questions that we had earlier, a lot of people, tell themselves, I don't know where to start. That sounds great. I see all these people. That's fine. But I don't have a product. I don't have customers. And that you're really the person that our program was designed for. It was designed for people who don't know where to start or have a product or have people to buy the products, who ask themselves, well, what can I sell? Who will I sell it to? How do I know it'll make money when I do sell it? Like, we literally have courses in our training right now that teach you how to do that. Our Avatar Masterclass teaches you how to create the perfect customer and learn who you can serve. Our Offer Masterclass shows you how to turn that into a digital product. And we even show you how to research and vet your idea to make sure that people are actually spending money on it. So, if you're scared to start or you don't know where to start, that's what we do. We get people started. We show them the ropes. We get them past the nonsense fast, all the learning curve, so that they can actually go out and sell their product, make money, and quit their job and take full control of their life. Normally our blueprint and community is $1,188 a year. It's $99 a month. But we've actually started doing these webinars because we want to give action takers a better price. We want to help people who want to help themselves do something with their life. A lot of people signed up for this webinar, and a lot of them won't show up or even watch the replay. They just kind of want to succeed. They want to win. But the people who show up, the people that come, the people that are here, you're the people that are really on the verge of taking that next step, and we want to help you out. So tonight, and only for people who came to this webinar, this offer probably won't even be available to the replay people. We're going to let anyone who wants to join our community tonight do so for $5.99. That's the lowest price that we offer our membership anywhere. It's 50% off the normal monthly price. That's a whole year of training. That's a whole year
community
support, a whole year of accountability for just $5.99. And we're not holding anything back. When you get in there, you will be able to get into all of our courses, every course that we've ever created, any course that we create in the future while you're still a member, you will 100% get to do that. You have access to every single forum in there, the general forum, the support forum, the success forum, the start here forum, the action plan forum, everything inside. You will get full access for $5.99. Now, that's only going to be good for about 30 more minutes. I think 34. We're going to do a Q&A here in a minute and take some questions. And once we kind of get to the end of the Q&A, we're going to turn that off because we really want to reward people that are action takers, that showed up and are willing to take that next step.
We're having a little bit of an issue with the order form, so I put a link to one that is working. We just started this new system that we're using now, and for some reason it has a $0 price on the order form.
Okay.
So I've put a link to the correct one in the chat box. So if you're interested in joining, just click that one, and I know that one will work for you.
And we've also got in there another, I've got a link to the backup order form. we were actually ready for this when we started. We said, I don't know if this order form is going to work. So we put backup links on the order form itself at the bottom.
But it's the same link that I'm sticking here in the chat. So if you are on the chat, the link that I have put in there is correct.
Okay, good. All right. So make sure that anyone else who does join the night too, this is a special bonus. We used to do this for all annual members. We're not doing it anymore. This is being eliminated because our podcast has grown so big. But for anyone that listens to our podcast, we do one-on-one coaching on our podcast for our members. It's the only place where you can get one-on-one coaching from me and Jocelyn. And anyone who signs up tonight for the $5.99 offer for the annual plan, anyone who does it, you're going to get to be on the podcast. You're going to get an email. It's going to let you go straight to a calendar. You're going to be able to grab a spot. The spots are going to fill up very fast. We only record on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and we only have like a 2-hour block each day to record on. So you're going to want to get in early if you want to get a fast call with us. We're opening up for our next batch of recording right now. So if you join the night for $5.99, not only do you get 50% off, not only do you save money, not only do you get access to the blueprint and the entire community, but you get the fast pass. Just like if you were at Disneyland, you get the fast pass to the front of the line to be on the Flipped Lifestyle podcast with me and Jocelyn. And we will
Which is kind of priceless because we don't even do one-on-one coaching.
We don't even sell it. We do not sell that anywhere. The only way to do it, 52 people a year get to be on our podcast. That's it. So if you want to be one of those people, go ahead and jump in there tonight. You can be on the podcast. You can get in for 50% off. And we would love to have you and help you in our Flip Your Life community. All right, let's start jumping into some Q&As here. We've got about 30 minutes. So let's go in right now. And Jocelyn, if you've got some questions from the chat already, but if you have any questions right now, put them in the chat. We'll take the most current ones first. If you've got questions about the community, if you've got questions about what we do, online business, anything is fair game right now. You can ask us about us. It doesn't matter. We're here to hang out with you now and for the next 30 minutes and answer anything you want answered.
Okay, let's jump in here.
I'm gonna leave that on for just
I have a lot of different questions, so I'm just gonna jump in with some of them. I'll kind of skip around. So
we'll try to get to as many as we can, but we may not get to everybody.
All right. I like Chad's question. It says, I really need this course access. Do you have a course for how to convince my wife not to kill me if I join?
Yes, we do. We actually do. There is a course inside of the Flip Your Life Blueprint called Oh, what's it? It's a how to get your spouse on board with your online dreams without killing each other. Like that's basically what the course is called. And we do. Jocelyn and I have a great discussion. When I started, Jocelyn was not having it. When I started doing this, Jocelyn was like, "No, this is crazy. This isn't
This is never
possible.
gonna work.
These people are scammers. It's just like those MLM people. No, we're not doing it." And there 100% is training inside the community on how to get your spouse on board. That I don't think I've ever seen that training anywhere else in anybody else's program either. So
I haven't.
yeah,
I
so
don't know.
I think that was because my wife nearly killed me when I got obsessed with online business. So we got you covered, bro. We got you covered.
All right. Svetlana would like to know what is the minimum amount of time one has to invest every week to work on the business to prepare the product or build the website within a year?
Oh gosh, not much. I mean, if you've got a year to like plan everything, you'll have the website built within a couple months, even if you're only spending 5 hours a week, I'd say.
Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
get a good like 5 hours a week. And I know it sounds like a lot, but I mean, if you really think about what you're doing every single week, like you can probably find 5 hours in your week to
Yep.
get it done.
Yeah. So Jocelyn and I, when we did it, we had to come home like Jocelyn would get home before me at like 5:30, take the kids till about 7:30. I would take the kids and get them ready for bed and spend time with them. She would work like an hour and a half on her online business. And then she would get ready for bed and I would work an hour and a half after the kids went down. So we were only really working about an hour to an hour and a half a day when we were working full time and raising kids. So that's pretty much how it worked.
All right. Next we have. Sorry, I'm not sure. I think it says Stefan. I can't see. It's like really small. We okay. My wife is a second year science teacher. I am okay. He's the Shane in the relationship, but it was her idea to sell lesson plans.
So you're the crazy one. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the camera on, guys, because it's freaking us out here just staring at our picture. So let me turn the camera on here.
I've made our website and I'm stuck at the mark of not knowing how well or what the level of content should be. So we haven't had anything to upload and have not been able to justify purchasing Aweber to collect emails when we don't have material to deliver yet.
That's a mistake. Listen, you've got to learn how to hook up Aweber. You got to learn how to do the tools. Like what you're doing is basically like saying, it's like it's like getting to work without a car, basically. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm going to go get a job and then I'm going to have a way to get to the job. No, you got to have a car.
Or having a car and not putting gas in it.
Yeah, you got to have the tools to get to the interview. You got to have the tools to get to the place where you're going to work. This is the same thing. If you don't get the tools in place, like we actually in the first part of the blueprint, we get your idea, we figure out what the product's going to be. Okay. And actually the first thing we make you do is create an opt-in. So you would have already had an opt-in if you were in the community. And then we focus on infrastructure before we market, before you learn all this stuff that everybody else teaches about Facebook ads and all this other stuff. You build your infrastructure, you get Aweber set up, you get your website set up, you get all that ready, and then you move forward. So you're kind of doing things backwards. That's why you're frustrated, and you're going to have to get used to the fact that you've got to get the tools first. Online business kind of works backwards. That's something that we teach. You think, oh, I'll just have all these great things and I'll make money and that'll justify buying the cool stuff. No, you got to go get the stuff to make the money to build a business. So you're just kind of backwards a little bit.
And what you have to remember is that online business investment is actually a lot less than like a normal business investment. If you have to start a normal business in your town, you're going to have to rent a building, you got to pay for heating and air, you have to pay for internet access, you have to pay for whatever else, you have to pay for products. An online business, it is kind of expensive, but there are ways to pay for it. Like when Shane and I were first starting out, we found ways to pay for it. We were teachers. We didn't make a whole lot of money. So we had to kind of be creative. We had to think, okay, what can we do to free up money to make this work? And some of the things that we did were selling things. We would have like yard sales. We found stuff in our house. We would throw it on Facebook, just anything to make some money to get the business started. So you may need to start wrapping your mind around things like that.
All right. Next question. Good questions, guys. Keep them coming. We're here, for as long as you need us. We got to about 11 o'clock probably. So, I mean, we got 25 minutes time for a lot of questions. Anything you need, let us know.
All right. Mark wants to know, he says, my biggest roadblock to join in is that I hate WordPress and Aweber. Is that still a big part of the course?
We do start at WordPress and Aweber because most people That's the easiest way for them to get started. But we've got members that use MailChimp. We got members that use Ontraport, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, ClickFunnels. I mean,
We are not as
no,
tool
we're not as slave
dependent
to
as
tools.
we once were.
Yeah.
This course used to be really dependent on very specific tools. We have kind of redone it now, so where it could work with a variety of tools.
Yeah,
and
we're more
situations.
concerned that you're doing the things you need to do. You know, can you collect emails? I don't care what tool you use. Can you create, you know, can you create sales pages? I don't care what tool you use to create sales pages. That doesn't matter to me. That's not important. Okay. So whatever tools you want, you can replace them, you know, with whatever we do. Our courses are actually structured in a way to teach it that way too. We will help you find the support you need though. Like if you have a question, like, you know, there's hundreds of entrepreneurs. There's a whole thread on people who only use ActiveCampaign. They all kind of hang out together. There's a whole thread of people that use a software called Paid Membership Pro. All those people help each other. Like there was just a thread tonight that was like Paid Membership Pro acting crazy on memberships or something. So people were chiming in and talking about how to work through the problem.
And we have never used that software,
Never used that,
so
but
we don't know
there's
it. But
people in
there
the
are a lot of
community
other
that use
people do.
everything. So
All right. Next is from, I think it says Nadine. I'm having trouble seeing it. My writing is really small. It says, I'm a psychology teacher and I want to base a business around lesson plans for that, but there are so many resources available for people. I don't know if I should still pursue it.
yep. Everything that I teach, I have a lesson plan site that's based on U.S. history teachers, and you can find billions of resources for those people. I mean, they can find them. They're there, you know. But what you can't find is an organized system, a curated system. That was my differentiator. I said, I'll give you a lesson plan every day. Here's a list of 185 days. Follow the plan. Everything else is the same. You can find for free, but they buy the plan and they come back. They also pay for like storage. Like you could store things on your computer hard drive, but a lot of us pay for Dropbox or Google Drive or cloud storage, right? But we do that for convenience. We can log in anywhere and we can get to it. So it's not necessarily just the content people want. People come for the content, but they stay because of that little thing you give them extra, you know?
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, like this goes to what's called a blue ocean discussion. So basically, what it means is that you have to find something that other people aren't doing. So, in other words, tons of people sell lesson plans. Like I could get online and find free library lesson plans all day long. I could find hundreds of them. But my lesson plans that I created, they were made using a very specific system. They were made to be aligned to very specific standards, and no one else was doing that.
Yep.
So I found a way to go in to what's called a blue ocean. That means that there aren't other sharks there. But if you go into what you would call a red ocean, where there are lots of other sharks, that's when it's going to be hard to compete with other people. So you have to find sort of a different angle to work.
Yeah, you just
you
got to find your thing, like your gimmick. I'm a big pro wrestling guy. Everybody's got a gimmick. Hulk Hogan looks different than Andre the Giant, right? Like you got to find your gimmick. It's just a little something that makes you different. It's not nothing complex, nothing crazy, just a little something different.
And think about how many people are in this space, like the online business space. I mean, there are probably like hundreds, if not thousands, of people doing what we do now. But there's a reason that you're here. So think about that.
People will relate to you where they won't relate to anybody else, basically.
Exactly.
All right. Next question. By the way, too, I have fixed the problem on the order page. I took the form down and I created a button. So anybody that is looking to get back in there and make that work, it now says click to sign up, and that button should work. So let me know, and we'll check that out. Should be good now.
All right. Stefan again says on starting an online business in an hour a day. I think he's referring to our podcast that we did.
Right.
Are the blog posts necessary? He says, is consistent blogging a skill that must be learned for the membership format? My goal is an online membership, but at this time, with lesson plans still being creative, it seems posting a unit for sale and someone purchasing them seems more logical.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't. Yeah,
that's how I started out.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
I mean, you can have an ultimate goal in mind of a membership site.
Yeah, we actually don't recommend you start at a membership. That's a later course in the blueprint. You have to learn to sell your products first, and then we start developing strategies, right, that are basically, able to go forward into a membership. Like this started out as just a course, and then we turned it into a membership because we realized People need accountability. People need a community. That's what makes people succeed. You're like 10x times likely to succeed if you're with people, other entrepreneurs going through the same struggles as alone watching a video.
Yeah, and when I was
So-
starting out on elementary librarian, like I just didn't have it all done. I mean, I now have over 500 lesson plans that I've created, but at the time I just had like 30. So I didn't have time to make 500 lesson plans, but I could make 30 at a time. So that's what I did to start out, and it was very successful. And once I had everything, then I would put them together and make a larger membership product.
Right. It takes a little time to build what you need to put a membership together. Some places you can put them together right away. You know what I mean?
It just depends on what kind of membership you have.
Yep. All right.
All right. If you have other questions, you can go ahead and post them. This is the last one that I think I have. And it's from Mark. It says, I feel like I want to start an online business, but every time I start, I doubt it will make money and I go back to work. It's frustrating.
Yep. I mean, that doubt is something that's really hard. And that's why one of the things that we try to do is point to as many examples as possible, because like you have to first believe it's possible. And like everyone gets frustrated at that statement sometimes because they're like, no, teach me the magic formula. Show me, you do it all for me and I'll just reap the benefits. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but that's kind of how we feel sometimes. Like that person must have some special sauce or did this or that. But really the first step is just believing it's possible. It's like, okay, here's Jeanette. She's real. Here's Evan. He's real. Here's Brad. Here's Shane and Jocelyn. Here's Kat. Here's Jeff. Here's Rena. Here's all these people that are doing this. I can do it. I just have to figure out how. Is it going to work the first time you try it? No. But, if you're a baseball player, you only have to hit like 350 to be in the Hall of Fame, right? You're going to fail sometimes. The first thing you try may not work, but you'll learn. You'll learn how to do the infrastructure. You'll learn the process. The second thing might be faster. The first things we did didn't work, but it's the process. It's getting started. It's getting the ball rolling, and the ball won't roll until you believe it, until you get in there and get your hands dirty. Okay. So that's what you got to do. You just have to start. You just have to commit. That's another reason why we really want people to commit for a year. I mean, we could discount the monthly price, but people who pay attention. And if we're just like, come into our community, it's free, then you won't do anything. We've actually given free memberships away before.
And it never
100% of people who got in for free didn't succeed. And we're like, what a disservice. That's terrible. You just got to go. You got to commit for a year. You got to say, these are my peeps and I'm going. And that's why we offer this kind of discount on our annual plan, because we know if you go in and you're invested and you're committed and you're surrounded by real people that are doing it too, you've elevated your chance to succeed. So the reason you're probably going through that is because you're doing this all alone. You're just reading about it, not really believing in it, instead of putting your faith in action and going forward and making it happen. So that's
All
what
right. Scott, we were talking about some videos. If you're still here earlier, you were saying that you wanted to make videos, or you had some videos and you weren't sure what to do with them. So if you want to put a question in here, we will answer it for you. Next is from Jason. It says, if I joined and I have a business idea, my fiance also has an idea in a different niche, how can we both learn without double dipping? Basically want to be considerate of how questions are asked inside the membership.
Oh, well, Jocelyn and I have a very soft spot for couples. Okay.
And we want couples to join.
We want couples to join. You both can do whatever you want. You both can ask as many questions as you want with no problem. We're here to support you guys. Well, we've got multiple families. We even have business partners. That's another thing that like kind of came up later. We always said we could let couples in, but we've got business partners. We got these guys named the Cruise Dudes. Tommy, what's Tommy's brother's name?
Scott.
Tommy and Scott.
They were on here.
Were they really?
While ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've not checked the chat, but Tommy and Scott have a website called The Cruise Dudes and a podcast and a magazine, and they just had a launch and they did like 75 subscriptions the first day or something. But awesome people. But when they came in, they were like, we're business partners, we're brothers. Does that count? And we're like, sure. Like if you're working together on a common goal, we want to support that. Even though you may work in different niches like Jocelyn and I did, you're working on a common goal, a better life for your family.
No, we don't want you just like pairing up with a random person.
Yeah, dude, let's split this membership, yo. $300 for a year, man. We ask all the questions we want. Yeah, please let it really be your wife.
We would not really like you to do that.
Yeah, don't do that. That'd be terrible. But that'd be, I would shame you if you did that. But no, husbands and wife teams.
if you
Bring it.
are if you're a couple and you want to join,
We also
are in favor of
don't
that.
mind for teams. I know some people have employees that help them with stuff. Like we have a video guy. I don't know how to do it. We have a guy that edits our podcast. Name's Johan. He's in the forums. He helps other people with technical problems. But we even don't mind that occasionally too. If you've got someone that needs a question answered and they want to ask them or they want to watch the videos, we want you to succeed. That's our number one mission. So, all right.
All right. Next, we're going to Svetlana. It says, if I concentrate on math in my business, it will take me several months to develop math training. How can I test my idea before diving into it?
The best test is just to create smaller product. Read that again. Did she say map or math?
Math. She wants to know how to test her idea before diving into it.
What we do, and we have a course on this that tells you how to like research, and it's called vetting. How do you vet your idea? How do you validate it? How do you make sure that your idea is possible, right? And there's a couple different ways you do it. The first thing we do is we do competitor research to make sure that there are other people that are already making money on it. I can tell you right now that we know multiple people that are doing what you're trying to do right now. Legit. So it is possible.
I can think of 3 right now.
Yeah, off the top of my head, 3. And the next thing that we do is we help you create small products first. We call them test products. Fancy name there, test products. But what we do is we go to third-party markets and sell them. I'll give you a free tip right now. There's third-party marketplaces that sell lesson plans. One of them is called Teachers Pay Teachers, and it's kind of like the eBay for lesson plans. So we would go there, put a couple up, get that first sale, validate it. But what you're doing does sell. It's just a matter of finding your niche. So, but we do have a course inside the blueprint that'll teach you how to do that. All right.
All right. Gina says, I have 16 people in my paid membership group. Should I continue focusing on adding more people?
Yep.
Or on the course I've had brewing on the back burner?
No. Once you get people buying, we usually, our goal.
Keep it
going.
We
try to get you to 50 people. That's our focus we have courses on sales and marketing. They go through every step that you need to be doing with ads. Jocelyn has a course about Facebook ads in there. Not really the nuts and bolts, more the strategy, but we can point you in the right direction for the nuts and bolts. And that's what you need to be doing now. You don't need to be going backwards for courses, backwards for whatever. You need to be going forward, get 50 members, and then figure out what to make next.
You have 16 people who want what you're selling.
There's probably 16 more. Yeah. I mean, so go find more people. You probably need to be in the community, and you need to be watching those.
She's in the community. So,
is that Gina?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
So you need to be posting about that for sure. Okay. We have, I'm not sure of this person's name. We have very concerned. Thank you for being here. And this person says, number 1, where does your community meet on what medium? So we actually have a forum software. It's
proprietary. Yeah.
We have a plugin. What is the plugin
Well,
called?
it's just our community is set up in a way where it's all self-contained. We thought about doing it on Facebook, but like we wanted more privacy, we wanted more control over what we do. So we set up forums. Works just like a bulletin board, anything you've been using on the internet forever. But we also have like a social media network installed on our Flip Your Life community where people can make friends, people can join groups. We have groups in different parts of the world. We have a lot of people from Australia. We have people in Canada. We have people in different parts of the United States, like the Midwest, the Southeast. So there's groups in there, just like Facebook groups. You can send private messages to other members. So it's totally logged into our website. It's flipyourlife.fliplifestyle.com. And everything happens within our platform. We also have an awesome app. You can go and get the free app that has our podcast and everything else. It's on iTunes in the App Store. It's called, just look up Flipped Lifestyle. But we actually have an app where you can log into the community right on your phone. You can watch trainings right on your phone. So we have pretty much everything is on our own platform so that we can give you the best experience possible. And
the second question is, it sounds like you give a lot of attention to people. How can you give such attention to such a large community? That's a good question.
That's a good question. Now, Jocelyn and I give as much attention to as many people as possible, but we do have a very large audience. We have a lot of people. So
as we've grown,
we've added people to our team. We're starting to add people in multiple time zones because we want a community manager. Kat is our head community manager and our audience manager. She's here now. She's in there answering questions. She knows our blueprint in and out. She knows how we do things. She has
built a successful business.
She's built a successful business before. Our team actually goes in the forums. We have a tech person. That's our webmaster. She goes in the forums. Our audio and video guy goes into the forums. They actually answer people's questions. And
Shane
then,
and I go in usually 2 times a week
Yep.
at the minimum.
Yep.
And we also do a bi-monthly member call. So
Yeah.
we get on just like we are right now. We get on a video and we invite all of our members to come on, and you can ask us any question you would like 2 times a month.
Yeah. And we're actually probably going to add office hours for other people on our team so that we can have more of these calls where you can come on and talk to other people. And also, I cannot stress enough how incredible our Flip Your Life community is. We have got a lot of smart people. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of people in there who have built memberships and online businesses, of 100, 200, 300, 400 people. And they're active in the community, and it's not all about them. They're going forward, and they're reaching back to pull everybody with them. And it's hard for us to even answer a question because 5 other people have already found the solution. So our goal, our mission, it's one of our maxims in our business, is that every person gets an answer. That answer doesn't always come personally from us, but we will get someone to get you an answer. That's our goal for our team, is to check the forums every day. If there's a question, somebody's replying. If there's not a reply and it's not been answered yet, we find a way to get that reply to you. Or we have a search bar. There's over 100,000 topics in the Flip Your Life community. You can search through all those old answers. We answer questions under all of our videos. Our videos are not just go watch the play button. You can ask questions underneath it, and my team actually sends me those questions once a week, and I sit down and answer them. So if you have a question that's specific about trainings, it's going to get answered at least once a week.
Our customer experience is very important to us.
It's very
so we want
important
to
to us.
make sure that we are staying close to the community even as we continue to grow. We want to make sure that our hand is still on that. We're not going to just disappear like some of the
Yeah.
people out there that
We're
we've
not
taken
going
their
to
courses.
ghost you. You're not going to ghost on you.
Okay, let's see. Next we have Scott. Scott says, my question was about what platform to use to sell membership to videos. My idea is to record myself singing songs I've written and playing along on the guitar that teachers could use to teach kindergarten and first graders different parts of their content.
Yeah, we have a member in our community named Chris Greenwood. He's a good friend of mine. You may know him. He's actually the Christian Recording Artist Manifest. And he has like a songwriting course. He's got stuff like that.
We also have Kevin who does
Kevin,
the
who
same
does
type of
guitar
thing.
lessons. Yep, he's got a membership where he teaches. What is it like? It's people who are retired empty nesters who never got to learn guitar.
Relax and
learn guitar. It's like
Yeah.
You've retired. You put this off because you were raising kids in a family. Now it's your time. And so he teaches people over 50 how to play guitar. And but yeah, basically you just take your community. And what we do is we put our videos in our forums, and then we use software like Wishlist or Paid Membership Pro. There's lots of different tools.
And we host the videos on Vimeo. You can also host them on YouTube.
Yeah, you host the video somewhere and you just put it behind a paywall. They got to log in to get to it. So I actually have a course that teaches you how to do that step by step. It shows you all the things that we use and the tools that you need. And, it's not super complicated. Once you get your forums set up in a membership area, it's just find a place to host your videos, protect them. So, but we do have training to do that.
All right, we have one question about the order form. People are still having some issues with it. I put a link to another one that you can use right there in the chat box. So just go ahead and click on that.
And I should have changed the button. I should have. You might have to clear your cache,
or they might have to refresh because they're still on the page.
Yeah, you may have to refresh.
It's okay. Just use this link in the chat box. That's probably the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, but if you do make it back there, like when we're done, what I'll do probably is I'll go in and extend the time so that you've got time to figure it out. I will extend the time on this, and we'll hang out and answer a few more questions while we're doing it too. So let me, because that was our fault. This new system, this was our first test run at it, and the test run crashed into the wall in the turn coming home. So, so let me fix the timer first, and I will extend that offer to you guys for another 30 minutes. And while I'm in here, I will actually just change this one to the form too. All right, so I'm going to extend this to midnight. Let's see. I'm going to extend this to midnight tomorrow. Actually, I'll extend it to 1 a.m. to make sure that everybody that wants to get in. We've had quite a few people join, actually. So somehow some people are getting to the order form. I think we've had seven or eight people have already joined, but something is going on because I can't see their names yet. So if you've joined, let us know in the chat real quick, just to let us know that you did make it through.
We just verified that Scott and I went to high school together.
What?
I thought so, but I wanted to make
That's
sure.
hilarious. Small world.
So
How
yeah,
does that happen?
awesome. Let's see. Yeah, fellow marching band geeks. That's right.
That's right.
Our high school doesn't even exist anymore, so that makes
That
me
was one of the
feel a
schools that
little
got
old.
consolidated, actually. So-
Okay, let's see. We had one more question from Shannon. Are you planning any live events?
Yes, we are. Our live events are only for our members. We are planning on having some hangouts next year. Jocelyn and I travel a lot, and sometimes we're going to try to do hangouts that are not as much coaching, not as much,
It's mostly
mastermind stuff, just to
like,
meet people and get to see people out there. But
kind of casually hang out together, like on
at a coffee shop or something.
Yeah, like
yeah.
a more peer-to-peer
But
basis.
we are planning at least 2 live events. We'd like to do 4 next year. One of them will be actually coming to our ranch, coming to our private lake, our estate, and having a mastermind here. So we do that, but those are only available for members. If you join tonight, you'll be a member for a whole year, so you will get an opportunity to do that. And the reason we do that is just we want to get to know people in our community. We want to make sure that people aren't just dabblers, aren't just barely trying this thing, before we actually put our time in person in a place with them. So you have to be in the membership, in good standing, and actually taking action. You got to apply to come to our live events because they work. People who come to our live events quit their job. I mean, that's just it. That's what happens.
We have done some in the past, and we never say never to anything. We may do some more in the future. It's just right now we are going to concentrate more on these kind of more private events, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, let's see. We got a lot of people joining, saying that you're joining in the chat. Thank you so much for that. We are really excited to work with you. We take our community very seriously. We want people to have as much success as possible. So we are super excited that you have joined.
All right. Any more questions right now?
Let me see. Paul says, I joined hoping you guys can help a pastor develop a way to go from bivocational to monovocational while helping others. Yep.
Jesus, baby.
I love it.
Love little Jesus in the community, baby. We got your back, bro.
Gina says no money for ads right now. So if Facebook Lives or webinars be a good way to find more members? Yes. And yes.
Yeah. Be aggressive. Listen, when we,
it's an easy answer, right?
when we first started our community, we didn't have money for ads.
We grew all organically.
Everything was organic. Like I used to sit up at night and I figured out that I could find football coaches on Twitter because coaches really like to post pictures of themselves on the sidelines, right? So I would sit up at Twitter all night long and search for football related terms like coach or quarterbacks or whatever. And I would find them and friend them and then invite them to come check out my website. Like I literally built a Twitter following of thousands of football coaches manually laying in bed at night from like 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock while Jocelyn was like asleep. So like when I say we took back every spare minute in our time, we literally did that. So yeah, you just got, the only thing is there's only 2 resources, time or money. If you don't have time or money, that's fine. Time does take longer because organic strategies do take longer, but they do work. And it's just a different thing. So,
all right. I think that was the final question. And we are like an hour and 58 minutes in.
Yeah.
So I think we did pretty good.
Let's do this. Let me show real quick. Let me go back over. First of all, I have extended the time limit to 1 a.m. Tonight. Because our order form was not working. I think I have fixed all the buttons now. So when we're done here in a minute, if you have any other questions, go ahead and ask them. I might take 1 or 2 more after I'm going to go through a little tour of the community for people that have joined. So if you want to see inside the community, hang tight for a second. But I've actually fixed the order forms, I think, to the backup form and the timer. So we'll see. If not, we'll send you an email. We'll get you a link. It'll be good. Okay. All right. So first of all, let me switch back over to my screen. Awesome members. Awesome having new members. Awesome having new people in the community. Jocelyn and I will probably be in there in that start here form. Make sure you introduce yourself. Love to say hello, and keep an eye out in your mailbox as well. You might be getting a surprise. I'm just saying. Wink, wink, Jocelyn. All right. Keep an eye on your mailbox. Post actual postal snail mail. All right. But for those of you who have just joined, welcome. Awesome. You need to go to flippedlifestyle.com. You should be getting an email that lets you in, but you can go there right now. and you can get your password off of that email. Click on Flip Your Life Login, and it will actually take you to another page where you can log into the community. The very first place that you need to go is the Start Here forum, where you can welcome and introduce yourself. Just a quick thing, you're going to get an email that tells you how to do all this. It's on the thank you page as well, hopefully. So you should be able to get those instructions, get logged in the next 30 minutes. If you don't get logged in, when you go to the Flip Your Life login page, there is a contact support button down here at the bottom, and get a ticket in and we'll get you logged in, but it should be fine. After you go to the Start Here forum, hit the general forum. That's where all the action takes place. That's where you can ask any question that you want about anything. Jocelyn and I have sticky posts up here. That's where you'll learn about the biggest success stories of the week. We share those. You'll learn when member calls are. You'll be able to check that in the general forum so that you can participate and ask questions every other week in those from me and Jocelyn. And you'll be able to basically go in here and get the help that you need. If you get confused in the blueprint, if you need help with anything, the general forum is the best place to ask that. The most important forum in the community, though, is the Action Plan Forum. We are big on accountability. We don't want you doing this alone. We kind of expect all of our members at least once a week to go post an action plan. Tell us your goals for that week. Tell us what you plan on doing. This isn't really about asking people's permission or opinion on what to do. It's your goals publicly every week so that we know what you're doing. Maybe it's, I'm going to watch those first 3 trainings. Maybe it's, I'm going to ask 4 questions this week in the general forum. Whatever it is, the Action Plan Forum is where you post it. Some people post this every day. They come in every single day and they say, I'm doing this today. I'm doing this today. I've only got an hour today. I'm going to get this done today. And people jump in. You can see here, some of these, when I copied this screenshot, had just been posted, but there's 4 posts, 10 posts, 22 posts on an action plan. Other members rallying around you, giving you the support that you need to get that done. All right. So the Action Plan Forum is really important. Post your action plan for next week right now. Get it ready, get it done, and make sure you're getting that accountability. And then the Success Forum. You know, I highly recommend you spend a lot of time tonight in the Success Forum. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, you can flip through it, but read these success stories. There's 4,000 posts in this forum. People celebrating everything from quitting their job and flipping their life to their first sale to getting something done. Hey, I finished video 1.
Finished my to-do list.
Finished my to-do list. Man, what a huge success. It doesn't matter what it is.
We celebrate every single
celebrate
one.
everything.
I go in and comment on every single success story.
Yeah, Jocelyn does the success stories. We're big on action plans. And Jocelyn and I post in here when we have something good in our business, when we have something great. I'm going to go post tonight. Hey, guys, webinar was a great success. We got a ton of new members. Everybody's coming in. People are still joining. I had to extend the time because we broke something, but you know what? It all worked out in the end. I'm going to post in the success story.
We've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
Still
Stuff breaks.
stuff.
That's just the way it is, man.
Good.
Yeah, you improvise, you adapt, you overcome. You know what I mean? But, you know, these success stories are so important. Not only, you know, when you're having a bad day, come in here. You'll be happier. I do it all the time. When you're having a great day, come in here and tell about it so you can encourage somebody else. Enjoy that success story as you first get in. It's really the best place to just sit and read for a little while when you first join the community. And get in there, be active. You know, you're only going to get out of it what you put in. You know, you got this great deal. Take advantage of it. You got this amazing opportunity now to take yourself to the next level, right? And do what you want to do to quit your job and take total control of your life. Don't waste it. Don't waste another minute. Get in there tonight. Look at those forums. Introduce yourself. And let's get you going and get the ball rolling as fast as possible.
We've done our job. We got you here. We got you in the door.
And we're going to take you to the next
level.
You got this. Yeah. Work with us and we will help you get to the next level. You know, our ultimate goal is for everybody that we come in contact with to be able to have more time with their kids, have more time for God, have more time for their spouse, and be able to just live a life of purpose and abundance and really fulfill your destiny and do what you were really called here to do. You weren't called here to sit at a desk. You weren't called here to grind away until you retire and be able to prop your feet up for a couple years before you die. You were here to do something great, and we are here to help you find out what that is. So welcome, members. Awesome. I think we can answer a couple more questions if there are any. Are there any questions right now?
I'm not seeing any. I was just going to go through some of the names of some of the people who
do that.
who have joined. And these are just people who have posted here in the chat. If you haven't posted yet and you've joined, just let us know here in the chat. But I wanted to welcome Jason and Paul. Nadine and Tita. I hope I said that right. Scott and Shannon, and also Kaiman. I'm not sure if I said that right.
We are awful with names,
I'm
y'all.
not very
Like,
good at
so
pronunciation, so I'm so sorry.
maybe in your start here post, you can put
Kaiman,
like
maybe?
a Webster's dictionary pronunciation of your name, so we'll know who it is, and we'll know how to say it when we talk about you and stuff.
Okay,
So.
that's a good question. How do we sign up for the call? So because you're an annual member, okay, Command. Sorry about that. So Command,
Oh, the podcast
basically,
call?
yeah, what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait for an email to come through. I think that it comes a few days
Yeah,
after.
I think it waits like 24 to 48 hours because we have to make sure our team, has limited capacity. So the first thing we want to make sure is that you get logged in, that you get introduced, that you get into the content, which is the most important thing in your world right now, and to get into the community. And then a couple days later, it's going to send you that email to get you booked for your podcast call. So you will be getting it. If you don't have it by this weekend, you can reach out to us
Yeah,
and we'll
just
get it
reach
to you.
out to our support on the site. We'll be happy to help.
But it is coming. It's all automated, and we didn't set the automation up. That's why we don't know the exact time period of the delay, but it is coming, and you will get it.
Chad says, "Oh no, I joined. What have I done? I'm going to introduce myself and find that course on convincing my spouse."
Oh, that's what I'm talking. It's the third course. It's the third. I'll help you find it. It's right there. It's like right under the avatar. And if you need any advice on that, but here's what you need to do. This is what needs to happen. Every time that you're like in the car with your spouse or you're hanging out, play our podcast. This is like sneaky strategy that people do. And like, especially like go back to old episodes, like find success stories, like members we've had on that have quit their jobs, and just play them, like, man, I'm going to listen to this. I'm not going to use my headphones today, honey. I'm just going to listen to the car speakers. You know what I'm saying? And like when you're playing those trainings, like turn it up just a little louder than you should so she can hear it. And through osmosis, we will convince her to get on board too. We've convinced many husbands and wives. Who was it at that conference? The wife came.
Oh yes.
Who was that?
I can't remember their names.
So, oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Well,
yeah, I do
we
know.
were at a conference in Dallas, and this guy came up to me and goes, "I'm so and so. Oh my gosh, I love you guys." I'm like, "Oh, I know who you are. I've talked to you on our Facebook page before." And he's like, "Yeah, man." And my wife, man, she came with me, and she's really not so sure about this, and but she, she listens. I play my podcast around her, and she listens to Jocelyn, and she's like, "Oh, this isn't just dudes." And he's like, "No." And like we were sitting there, and this girl just came up behind Jocelyn real quick and sat down behind her and was like, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I'm dying to meet you, and I just want to talk to you." And she's like, "Can I shake your hand to make sure that you're real and not a fake person?" And like,
we really are.
We really haven't. So then she started her own online business.
Svetlana joined. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. Tita is having some login issues, so if you will just
a lot of times login issues are a browser problem. If you can try a different browser and then let support know which browser you got logged in on. But we will have support on that, and you will get an answer within 24 hours for sure. So.
Yeah, just send I'll put the link, or I'm sorry, the email address to support. And one of our team members will be happy to help you. I'm just typing that in right now. So don't worry if you have any kind of issues.
Yeah, we've got our support people.
We'll take care of you.
You got Gracie. Gracie is the head of our team, but she's like the webmaster and stuff. But she does do some of the support, like especially with like technical issues and stuff. And then you have Kitty. Her name's Abigail, but we call her nickname's Kitty. And Kitty is actually in the forums all the time. She's our encourager in chief. Like,
so we have Kitty and Cat.
We have Kitty and Cat. We have a kitty cat running around there. And but Kitty is she handles the majority of our support tickets, so she will take care of you. I don't see how she does it. She goes crazy with all that stuff. So Kitty and Gracie, and then Kat is around too, but she's in the forums. Kat doesn't do any support. She's there to help you with the strategy, with the tactics and things like that. So we got a crack team on any problems that we might have. Okay.
All right.
Well, I think that it is getting toward our bedtime.
It's just past my bedtime. Grandma goes to bed at like 10 p.m.
Grandma's got to go to bed. And I think we forgot to let the dogs out before we did here. So I hope my dog hasn't peed in the garage. See, we're real people, y'all. Our dogs pee on us. Our kids are crazy. We know what you're going through. We feel it. And we cannot wait to see you in the community, to get you any help that you might need. Let's get everybody logged in. Let's set a goal to get everybody in by the weekend, everybody going, everybody in there. Look for those emails to join the community. Remember, if you're still on the fence right now, if you hit refresh, which I'm going to do it right now to test it. Shannon Rice said it's past her bedtime. Yep. Okay.
I know. I got to be up at 6:15.
Yeah, I set the timer back to 1 a.m. Okay, so you got to 1 a.m. to get this special right now, and I just tested the button, and it does 100% work now. So it will take you to an order form. Let me check the other button real quick. But we are still keeping the 50% off for the annual membership. And here's another great thing about doing that: we lock it in for life. We do raise our prices about every 6 months. We have to, because we have so many people that try to join, that we've got to keep raising the price to keep, our numbers under control. But you will lock that price in forever. If 2 years from now, the Flip Your Life community,
as long as you
is
remain an active member,
$3,000 a year, you will get to keep that $5.99 price forever. So that is locked in. As long as we exist, you will have that $5.99 annual plan, and it will never change as long as you renew it. So, a lot of great reasons to join. The most important of which is that so you can quit your job, take control of your life, so that you can spend more time with your family, and so that you can really live, the life and the destiny that you were really meant to come here and live. And so you can go out and help people. All we're trying to do tonight is throw a pebble in a pond so that your ripple will go out and help people that need you. And they're going to.
People need you to solve their problems.
They do.
And so we want to help you help your audience.
So thank you guys so much for coming. Thanks for all the great questions. There will be a replay that's sent out to this. So if you want to watch it again, listen through it. But the offer is only available tonight.
And Camille just jumped in.
What up, Camille?
We're very excited to have you.
Yeah, man. Awesome. So you have 2 hours left. Thank you guys so much. We cannot wait to help you get in there. We can't wait to help you take action. And we can't wait to help you do what we did, what Jeanette did, what Kat did, what Brad did, what Evan did, what Jeff did, what Rena did, what Rebecca did, what everybody did. Everybody's doing. And that is flip your life. We'll see you in the community.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.